The end of the 1970s found Robert Altman caught between several internal forces seemingly wrestling for control of his career: money, experimentation, freedom, and artistic integrity. Having established himself with MASH as the decade started, he then spent the early 70s making movie after movie in quick succession, often 2 a year. Plenty of these films confused audiences, but managed to skate by to pseudo-profitability due to the director's superhuman knack for finishing early and under budget. His contributions during 1970 to 75 are, these days, almost entirely appraised as the masterpiece tier of Altman's canon, concluding with the brilliant career-defining Nashville coming conveniently right at the midpoint of this storied 10-year period. His work over the next few years, less so. The 7 remaining projects the great man was to make during New Hollywood connected far less with audiences and critics. Those that we'll be talking about in this episode are insultingly obscure, to the point where some of them have remained out of print for nearly half a century, and one was never even released. The 5 films in question, 3 Women, A Wedding, Quintet, A Perfect Couple, and Health, were all produced by 20th Century Fox, mostly under the aegis of legendary studio executive Alan Ladd Jr. These movies are, all of them, weird as can be, but no less peculiar in principle than Altman's earlier output. Genre experiments all, and each echoes the themes of systems and alienation so favored throughout his oeuvre. Many of them rhyme with his earlier work, while also resisting the urge to stay in a lane. Now, are we about to tell you that actually everyone was wrong all along? These 5 from Fox are secretly the best Altman films? No, we are not. These are curiosities, unlikely to rank highly on best-of lists within a career as long and varied as this one. With the exception of 3 Women, all of these movies are rightly considered unsuccessful ventures in one way or another. But of course, it is the very fact that Fox allowed these failed experiments to be undertaken at all that made this period in Hollywood seem like the lunatics were running the asylum, as is often said. And when you look at the movies in the context of this one-of-a-kind career, you can't help but be thankful that this ultimate cinematic maverick was allowed the freedom to follow his muse so far afield, at least for a short while.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Sam. Happy birthday to you. Welcome to Kill Your Idols, a New Hollywood podcast with your hosts,
Sam Ludwig
and Elena Gibson. This is a podcast about film. Primarily, we discuss movies, directors, actors, and writers known for their work during the New Hollywood era of studio filmmaking that began in 1967 with Bonnie and Clyde and The Graduate, and pretty much ended in the early 80s with One from the Heart and Heaven's Gate. Today, we are celebrating Sam's birthday, which means that they get to choose the topic for this episode. And they chose the 5 films that Altman made with Fox in the late 70s. Now, last year, Sam, you chose The Iceman Cometh for your birthday episode, which makes sense because you are a theater person. So, can you explain what drew you into choosing these late 70s Altman films for this year's birthday episode?
The easiest answer is Criterion Channel. They have an Altman collection out right now, and it's got some of these movies that you never really see typically out there, like A Perfect Couple and Quintet. So I watched A Perfect Couple, and it kind of made me interested in this period, and we were trying to decide what to do for my birthday, and we have to do all of these Altmans at some point, because nobody who's listening to this podcast probably knows this or certainly remembers it, but in an Instagram post that we made about Robert Altman one time, I pledged sort of to myself, but also to the Kill Your Idols universe, that we would cover all of the 15 movies that he made in New Hollywood at some point. So we've always had this looming challenge in front of us with full knowledge that we would have to do several combination episodes where we cover a bunch of movies at once. We talked about doing a Duvall Altman episode, which we probably will do at some point because there's plenty of other Shelley Duvall movies to cover. But this just felt like this would be a good cluster and like a fun, these birthday episodes are ones where the idea is, you don't want to waste your birthday on covering The Godfather.
Yeah, you kind of want to pick something that's a little bit of a harder sell in a way to convince the other person because like you get full freedom to choose. Last year, you were like, okay, let's do this 4-hour-long depressing play. And I'm like, well, I can't say anything about that. Okay, let's do it. And I ended up loving it. And this year, it was those Altman movies. And
how did you feel about my birthday wish when you first heard about it?
I was like, that's cheating because you pick 5 movies. A little bit cheating there to sneak in a fuck ton instead of just picking one.
I'm sorry.
I knew that you loved Altman, as we'll find out in the end of the year episode. I'm sure Nashville is a movie that's very near and dear to your heart. Mm-hmm. But Robert Altman, I didn't really consider him one of my guys. Appreciated him, but I didn't love him as a director. So I was like, okay, well, it's your pick, I wasn't exactly excited.
And I'm picking, like, bad ones, too.
Right.
Perhaps one might expect that wouldn't endear you to him.
Yeah. Saddling me up with 5 bad Altman movies wasn't exactly exciting.
This is a guy whose bad movies are pretty cool.
Yeah, I have to say, I really enjoyed the experience of watching all of these movies. Not to say I enjoyed all of the movies, but I enjoyed the experience. We also both listened to this audiobook, which was an oral history of Robert Altman.
Which again, I just want to hit my hobby horse of how I enjoy listening to this oral history, but I just think oral histories are the lowest form of biography.
Me too. But I enjoyed this one.
It was informative.
It was called Robert Altman, The Oral Biography by Mitchell Zukoff, if anybody wants to check it out, because I actually really enjoyed it. The combination of listening to that oral history and watching all 5 of these movies definitely influenced how I felt about him as a director, and we can talk about that more kind of towards the end of the episode.
Okay, well, what do you want to talk about now?
Let's go ahead and lay the groundwork for our listeners, orient them in terms of what Robert Altman's career was. In broad strokes, what was his career trajectory like so that the audience can better understand how these 5 Fox films fit into his career arc.
They constitute a kind of a period.
Right. It's an era of Altman.
We didn't just randomly choose these movies because they were all at one studio. You want to do this because you actually know it? Because I didn't listen to the entirety of this. I've listened to this book, oral history, a couple of times before.
I feel like you're more intimately familiar with
Wait, you don't want to do it, but you just read the book.
Okay. Let me try.
Give it a shot, and I'll jump in. It's my birthday, honey.
Okay. Let's just say first.
I want to sit here and listen to my wife explain the life of Robert Altman.
I'm going to make plenty of mistakes, I'm sure. Broad strokes, he came to film late in his career. He was in his 40s when he first started making movies.
Not entirely. When he started making
good movies.
Yeah, when he broke out as a major film auteur. He was 45 when MASH came out in 1970, but he'd already had a career in industrials and television.
Right, but I don't consider those like feature films. So
he
started off.
He made a couple of films before MASH, but yes,
industrial film is where he first started having the freedom to experiment. That's where he was able to try out different camera techniques, and he was already doing overlapping dialogue and that type of stuff with his sound in his industrial films. They worked really well. They were a little odd, but those industrial films obviously had a better quality.
And he worked a lot in television, which is, you're supposed to work fast, and he would work super fast.
And he was a good director in television, but he definitely pissed off studios.
Yeah.
There's this famous story of how he made some stuff for Kraft Mystery Theater and said that their output was as bland as their cheese.
Yeah.
That kind of blacklisted him in a way for his whole career.
He worked with Alfred Hitchcock Presents in the 50s and pissed Hitchcock off.
So yeah, he wasn't very good at making friends with studio execs.
Famously mercurial and anti-authoritarian.
Right. It's not like he pissed off everybody who he worked with. Actors loved working with him, and he kind of sometimes would view himself as like the champion of actors, would pick fights with the studio heads on behalf of the actors, even if they didn't ask for it, and maybe just because he wanted an excuse to pick a fight. He just hated authority.
Yeah. He would sometimes turn on actors, as maybe we'll talk about in this episode, if they didn't do what he wanted them to do. Like if they took a job that wasn't with him, or if they wanted to go out on their own, if he felt like they owed their career to him.
Right. He was a little possessive.
Yes.
Especially of the actors who he kind of discovered,
yes,
quote unquote.
Right. More than quote unquote, but sure.
Sure, yeah.
Like he did put people in movies that would not have been in movies not for him.
That's true.
But
and
anyways,
that brings us to then finally his film career. So Sam, why don't you take over?
He makes a couple of movies, one of which got taken away from him, which is called Countdown. It was about astronauts. Then he made his little personal film about a woman, which I've never seen, called That Cold Day in the Park, kind of like a late 60s persona-influenced film, which that's a thread that we'll talk about later in this episode. Then he made MASH, which was his breakout. We did an episode on that.
Which I want to point out he made with 20th Century Fox. So that was his second experience with Fox. His first interaction with Fox began back when he was doing TV. He made this TV show for Bus Stop, and the episode was called A Lion Walks Among Us, and it was a pretty infamous episode because it became really violent, but people also really liked it, and it was gaining some attention, and Fox was thinking of doing a movie based off of it. But then they pulled out once all these like news articles came out about how awful it was that it was so violent, and it brought up a lot of questions about censorship on TV and that kind of thing. So Fox pulled out, and Altman was pissed. And when he did MASH, he didn't want to work with Fox at all because of it. His agent convinced him to. He made MASH. It was a success. And then he gave an interview afterwards where he said he heard that Fox was going bankrupt and he was glad. So he has this great success with Fox and totally throws them under the bus and again burns some bridges. But still, despite that, MASH kind of saved Fox because they were going bankrupt and it was such a hit.
So not a great relationship with Fox.
Right. So MASH happens.
Happens, and then this gives him the ability to kind of do whatever he wants, and he does. He makes several strange films. Brewster McCloud, which kind of defies description. We'll do an episode in which that is one of several movies that we talk about, no doubt. McCabe and Mrs. Miller, which is a genre experiment in Westerns and a very strange movie that we attempted to do an episode on, but we ourselves could not get past the infamously difficult to penetrate first third of the movie, in which the sound is all fucked up.
We will.
Yeah.
We will.
It's
We
a
just
classic.
didn't really feel like covering it at that moment.
It's too sleepy. Then he makes another movie, Images, which, like Cold Day in the Park, this is his persona, psychological woman getting mentally tortured kind of movie. The second in what will be considered a bit of a trilogy for him in this vein. Then he makes The Long Goodbye, which is a adaptation of Raymond Chandler mystery starring Elliot Gould. And it's a kind of revisionist noir movie. It's a neo-noir. It's sort of a prototype for The Big Lebowski. And then he makes two movies in 1974, Thieves Like Us and California Split. Thieves Like Us is a period piece, it's sort of Bonnie and Clyde, 1930s bank robbing thing. California Split is a gambling movie. Gambling is a big theme with Altman. He was an inveterate gambler. And California Split is where he first develops his Lionsgate, not to be confused with the production company Lionsgate, multi-track sound recording system. It's a way of doing the overlapping dialogue where you're recording different people with through different tracks, and you're able to mix dialogue. You're able to turn up somebody's dialogue and turn down another person's dialogue, so you can kind of focus the ear where you want it to go, and you can have mics on a bunch of different people. This is kind of really what unlocks, because he took the overlapping dialogue thing from Howard Hawks, which we could play a clip of like what that sounds like in the sort of classic screwball comedies.
Darling, did you see that?
Where is he?
She jumped out the window.
I know that. Where is he?
Anyway,
I said.
she isn't dead.
Come to, Hildy. Where have you got William?
He's in the desk.
Huh?
Kevin, she didn't kill herself.
How you doing?
Let me out. I can't stand it.
Keep quiet. You're sitting pretty.
What's in there?
Who are you?
What are you doing?
Who is she?
This is Mrs. Baldwin, Bruce's mother.
What are you doing?
Shut up.
I won't shut up. You're doing something wrong.
Mother, please.
Take her out of here.
Now, wait a minute, Walter.
Quiet. Louis.
Yes, boy.
Take the lady over to Pollock Mike.
My name's Louis Paluzzo.
Lock her up. See if she doesn't talk to
Walter, you
anyone on
can't
the
do
way.
this.
But then there's a difference in the way that Altman does overlapping dialogue. Here, we'll put a clip of that here.
Michael, you're up.
Hi, fellas. What can I do you for?
I'll have some J&B Scotch straight with some soda water on the side.
William, have a drink and loosen the eye.
It's all right. That's some coffee. You got some coffee.
Coffee's right over
for
there,
Remy.
honey.
William,
Over there,
you are a
it's on the
straight dude. Coffee, just keep it together. Don't get in the way of the concentration.
Ace, you're the boss, Doc.
It's a sweet game, it is. $2,000 buy-in, right?
You fellas here to drink or play?
Well, my partner here is the player, and I guess I'm the drinker.
Huey,
He calls.
player.
Next up.
And so at this point, he's got kind of all of his tools. The overlapping dialogue is a signature. He uses a lot of zooms, which some people could point to as being an outgrowth of television, although this is also just a thing that more directors started doing in the early 70s, using zooms. Some people find it ostentatious. It's a sort of non-formalist technique because it makes you aware that you're looking through a camera. That is something that he grew very comfortable with because they do a lot of that in TV. And in TV, it made things look a little chintzy, but in Altman, he does it in a sort of more dreamy way where sometimes people talk about his wandering zooms. Okay. So then 1975, it all comes together with Nashville, where he makes a movie. It's not a huge commercial hit, but it's this epic, my favorite movie of all time. It's a depiction of the country music / political scene in Nashville in the mid-70s, speaking to where we are post-Watergate. It's got all of these songs that the actors wrote themselves, wildly experimental narrative. It's got 24 characters, and it's considered a huge creative success. And this is the movie that kind of cements him at this point as, okay, we can really take this guy really seriously. He's not just like an interesting director who's made these weird movies. Like, at this point, Nashville kind of codifies the previous 5 years as, those movies were actually great and experiments in genre, and this guy's building a real career.
Yeah, because like MASH was a huge success. And then everything between MASH and Nashville, some of them were received really well critically. And even the ones that weren't, I think, had their own champions. Like even a weird one like Brewster McCloud. Like some people really liked it.
Yeah.
And I don't think any of those ones would be considered failures.
No.
But then after Nashville.
Yeah. It starts to go a little weird.
Yeah. So the one he made after that was Buffalo Bill and the Indians or Sitting Bull's History Lesson, which I haven't seen. You've just watched that.
I just watched it last night. That's a cool movie. It's he's getting a slightly higher budget. There's a lot of spectacle to it. He's working with a big movie star, Paul Newman. He's working under the storied film impresario Dino De Laurentiis, who he ruined his relationship with him because he made the movie too weird. Again, it's funny because Altman is famous at this point. Like, he's a really famous director. He's not known for losing money because his movies are all pretty cheap because he gets actors to work for like nothing.
But he is known for being a pain to work with. So like after Sitting Bull's History Lesson, that's when he makes those 5 films with Fox. And Alan Ladd Jr. said that at that time, he was one of the few studio heads who would hire him, despite his previous successes and despite the fact that he was pretty critically acclaimed, because studios were scared of him. He was an asshole to them, and he would just willfully ignore whatever they were suggesting and be combative.
He had been on the trajectory to next work with De Laurentiis, who had the rights to Ragtime, the book. That ends up getting made by Milos Forman. And Ragtime would have been like a perfect Altman masterpiece because it's got all these multiple narratives. It's this American epic. It's a period piece. Could have been really cool. I haven't actually seen the movie Ragtime.
I haven't either. I've read the book.
You did read the book?
Yeah, I read the book a little while ago. I didn't love it, but maybe I would have enjoyed an Altman version of it. It is Altman-esque in the whole like multiple storylines, creating a whole tapestry type situation.
And that could have been a sort of more consuming large work. Instead, he goes for quantity, and he kind of shoots him out.
Yeah.
I would say. And he also starts producing, Altman does. He produces films by Alan Rudolph, which I watched, Welcome to L.A., where Altman kind of picks a lot of the people that he's going to work with in these next 5 movies. And he also produced The Night Shift, which we've seen. These movies are kind of Altman ripoffs, in a way, or like he has his proteges, and they're trying to do an Altman thing, but slightly different. So he's just kind of working a lot. And do you want to talk about Alan Ladd? Well, so Alan Ladd Jr., he's a studio executive who is at this point known mostly for being the guy who greenlit Star Wars and Blade Runner. And we've talked about him previously. He he eventually starts the Lad Company, and he picked up The Right Stuff. He's mostly known as being one of the iconic champions of science fiction / in my opinion, bit of the ruination of American cinema through blockbuster. I mean, he also, no doubt, I'm sure, had a hand in greenlighting Rocky Horror Picture Show, which was a Fox movie.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, so like late 70s. We have to remember that Star Wars was a weird thing to pitch.
Yeah, like he seems
You
like
know?
the type who was willing to give things a chance.
Yes.
Allow the weirder stuff to happen.
He was Altman's champion. And so Altman sets up these 5 different movies. He doesn't make a contract for 5 movies. It's kind of a one at a time type deal. But
Yeah, I as we go through these 5 movies, it is a little surprising to me that he was able to make 5 in a row with Fox, given that,
they kept failing.
yeah, like Quintet happens in the middle of it, and he still gets to make 2 others with Fox, you know?
They're all super cheap. These movies all cost about $1 million, which would still be a cheap, I mean, I guess it would be more expensive back then, but that would be an incredibly cheap budget. Now,
Yeah, and he was good at, like you said, like he's known for under budget and under time productions. He had this bad habit, apparently, of like, towards the end of production, he would get kind of bored of the movie and would just wrap it up way too quickly. Wouldn't put as much effort into it. Like, I think he probably works best when he doesn't have total freedom and he has some sort of outside force working with him creatively. So it's not just all left to his own devices.
And he's really resisting having a script at all with these movies a lot of the time.
Yeah, sometimes actors would be like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll be in your movie. Can you send me a script? And be like, no, because if I send it to you, it's going to be useless. We're not going to use this script. He just wouldn't give certain actors scripts because he didn't think it was helpful. I would posit that these 5 he makes with Fox, he's kind of in a bit of a holding pattern where they're not really working, and we'll go through each of them one by one in detail, but they're not really working for various reasons. But people are still willing to give him a chance.
And they're all happening really quickly. Like, this is a 4-year period.
Yeah.
A quick downfall.
1977 to 1980. It's a 3-year period. But then he makes Popeye in 1980. We just want to finish off his trajectory before we get into the individual movies so you can kind of see like where they fit within his whole career.
Yes.
Then he makes Popeye, huge failure.
Well, but the thing is, it wasn't really. Like, that's what it's really is the combination of these 5 movies, which did all fail, with Popeye, which was a huge budget, by far his biggest budget, and it actually made money. Popeye tripled its budget. But it was just seen as so weird, and it wasn't as successful as the studio wanted it to be, considering how much money they'd spent on it, that people were ready to write him off. It was like Popeye plus these 5 movies before then is what really killed his Hollywood career for the time being.
But it did, like, for sure.
Cost way more. Like, it went way over budget.
And it did effectively kill his Hollywood career for like 10 years.
Yeah, he sold his Malibu house, which was the site of many fun parties, apparently.
He like moved to Paris for a little bit, made some movies over there. He made a couple operas. He did some theater. And he kept making these like small films.
He taught at a university just so he could get students to make movies for him.
But he was one of those guys who like always wanted to work, you know?
Yes.
So he kept making films the whole time. I haven't seen any of them in this 1980 to 1990 period. I'm sure if I watch them, it'll be similar to these like late 70s films where they'll actually have a lot of charm to them.
I mean, I think Secret Honor is one of the great Altman movies, where Philip Baker Hall portrays Nixon just ranting at himself into microphones. That's one of the great Altman movies. My dad showed it to me as a child.
I should watch it sometime. But they were all, you know, small movies, nothing really big.
And mostly theater-based. Like, it was mostly like him filming plays and then doing a little TV.
But then he made a huge comeback in 1992 with The Player, which was a big success. And everybody was saying at the time, like, this is Altman's comeback, which annoyed him. He's like, I feel like I've had a bunch of comebacks in my whole career.
But A Player is one of his best and most accessible movies. I think it's the movie that most people watch of Altman's first.
I want to rewatch it.
You definitely should. It's so good. I mean, to state the obvious, it's a really, really cool movie.
So that was his comeback. And then after that, made some movies that I haven't seen a lot of these, but like Shortcuts.
Shortcuts was a movie he was trying to make all through the 80s. That was supposed to be his next big masterpiece, and that's kind of the Altman-esque 90s masterpiece.
And he says it's pretty cool, right?
It's awesome. It's amazing. It's a collection of Raymond Carver stories. It's a brilliant combination of two geniuses at work.
He makes other movies like Kansas City,
Great movie.
Dr. T and the Women.
I recently watched that movie. I think it's kind of interesting. It's not amazing, but
But then in 2001, he makes Gosford Park.
Mm-hmm.
That one's big hit.
another comeback of a kind.
Makes The Company in 2003. I don't think that one was...
No, not great.
Then his final film in 2006 was A Prairie Home Companion, and he was really at the end of his life at that point.
And it's a movie that's where everyone's like, I'm gonna die soon. It's like I feel like things are coming to an end. Like it's a real final movie.
Yeah, like I think that's kind of lovely that's his final film.
Uh-huh.
He was still planning on making others after that. He was going to make this Hand on a Hard Body movie about a bunch of people involved in one of those competitions where you have to like keep your hand on a car for as long as possible to win it, and that sounds pretty cool. I wish he had made that one.
And he did another play after Prairie Home Companion, or an opera.
He did a play, and Kevin Spacey was in it. And
Yeah.
Kevin Spacey was a total asshole to him.
Right.
And so, unfortunately, he ended his career on like a shitty note. It got bad reviews, and Kevin Spacey was a total jerk.
Yeah.
And that's sad. But I'm going to ignore that. I'm going to say he ended his career on Prairie Home Companion.
Prairie Home Companion is a real button of the career. But now running it back.
Yeah. So
to
that's
25 years earlier.
So that's his
30
whole career trajectory, and the 5 films we're focusing on are kind of in between Nashville in 1975 and The Player in 1992. Like, those are his big successful ones. There's a bunch of other movies in there too, but he didn't have any huge successes outside of those.
I think the thing about these movies, and again, it's just like we're conveniently ignoring Sitting Bull and Popeye because those are sort of more individually important movies. We could do individual episodes about them. Popeye is incredibly important. Popeye is one of the new Hollywood ending movies.
We'll definitely do a Popeye episode.
Of course. And a Sitting Bull episode, because I promised in that Instagram post that we will have some discussion of literally every movie that Altman makes in the 70s.
Okay.
But these movies, so in that run-up from MASH to Nashville, he's really developing who he is. And I would say that these 5 movies are when he is who he is.
He's got his tools all figured out, and now he's just using them and playing around in his sandbox.
Yeah. And I think that a lot of these movies, they all connect to an earlier strain that he has set up in earlier work. Some of them are kind of like sequels, spiritual sequels to earlier movies that he made. It's his weirdest period. And I would also say that compared to the early 70s, it is a somewhat more optimistic period. They have kind of more up endings. Most of the movies in the early 70s end on a down note. These movies are a little bit more hopeful in the end.
Yeah, I say overall that's true. I don't feel that way about 3 Women. Why don't we go ahead and dive into 3 Women? Let's just start talking about these films.
Let's do it.
All right, 3 Women. Let's start off with a short synopsis in case you haven't seen 3 Women. It's one of his more artistic ones. It's definitely influenced by European art house type stuff.
It's a Bergman movie.
It's a lot like Persona.
It's Persona.
And he's straight up said that he was inspired by Persona.
Yeah, it's like Persona, but this time it's 3 women, except not really. It's mostly just 2 women.
By the end, I'd say it's 3. The Persona aspect of it, yeah, I mean,
Still mostly just 2 women.
It is.
Has anybody ever done a full Persona where there are 3 women whose identities keep circling each other like the whole time? Because like that would be, or if somebody was like, okay, this time it's 5 women.
But the thing is, anytime you're going to do a Persona thing, it's like everybody's going to say, oh, it's Persona. Some critics...
Yes. Anytime there's 2 women in a fucking movie, it's like, whoa, this is kind of like Persona. It's true, though.
I don't think that's true.
It's what I think anytime that somebody does something like this.
No, we're going to be talking about... Like Health, for example, I think has multiple great female characters.
Oh, yeah.
And that's not Persona-esque at all.
No, I'm saying anytime it's 2 women.
Oh, just
anytime
2.
it's like anytime it's mostly just about 2 women in a relationship with each other.
Even if the director had never even seen Bergman, it's still like, oh, that's Persona.
If it's not really comedic, even though 3 Women's kind of funny. It's quirky. It's not that funny.
Okay. 3 Women for me is unpleasant. I recognize its artistic value, but I find it to be an unpleasant movie to watch. I was not charmed by it.
I found it unpleasant to watch this time too.
Yeah?
I was less... Okay, so this is the movie of these 5 that is like considered top tier Altman.
Right, this one's the best one critically of them. all.
Yeah, and it's like usually it's one that many people have seen.
Like, I have seen it
Yeah.
previously. I saw it, like, I don't know, probably like 10 years ago.
Yeah, it was on Netflix.
Maybe that's why I saw it. No, I don't think that's why I saw it. I don't know. Whatever. It's a well-known movie of the Altman oeuvre. But, oh, wait, real fast, though. Synopsis.
It's simple.
Yeah, you've got Pinky.
Pinky and Millie.
Pinky and Millie. So Pinky is this...
Sissy Spacek.
She's like a teen, she seems. Or she at least acts like a teen.
Sissy Spacek is in a period where she's playing teens.
Yeah.
She's got to be filming this right after Carrie had finished filming. This movie was filmed before Carrie came out.
But so she's playing this like young, naive girl, starts working at a senior center, and she becomes obsessed with this other woman who works at the senior center, Millie, which is funny to me that she's obsessed with Millie because it's not like Millie's cool or well-liked by the others.
This is one of the great meditations on being uncool.
Yeah.
It's like a disturbing... Millie's character lives in my heart as, I mean, exactly how I feel anytime I'm not... my persona is not connecting with other people.
You're like, oh God, I'm just like Shelley Duvall through the three women. Because Millie was played by Shelley Duvall.
Yeah.
But if that's true, at least that means that there's probably at least somebody who's obsessed with you.
And there
You've
is.
got a Pinky out there.
But she stops being obsessed with her at some point.
That's true.
She like hits her head and then she realizes, oh no, I'm actually cool.
I would say the first half of the film is her being obsessed with Millie and kind of trying to like emulate her.
Yeah. Failing to emulate her.
Right. Doing a bad job of making Millie like her and acting like her.
Right. Like Millie is uncool, but also she finds Pinky uncool.
And that's just so interesting to see two uncool people. Like one of them think the other one's cool and the other one thinks the other one uncool. Like it's just a funny dynamic. But also not funny, like it's unpleasant because it's sad and depressing to watch two uncool people interact like that.
And it's about womanhood and what womanhood has come to mean in this post-sexual revolution period.
Millie is constantly trying to date men.
And she's like straight out of Good Housekeeping.
Yeah, she's always cooking these weird meals.
Yeah.
And Shelley Duvall apparently came up with these recipes herself or found them in a magazine and chose to bring them into the character. They're like very like Midwestern weird meals. Think ambrosia salad type shit.
And she was talking about making tuna melts for dinner. And I was like, damn, I want to make some tuna melts for dinner. But it's that kind of thing where she's trying to perform this, I'm a fun lady hostess who's ready to have some fun with some guys.
And then sleep with them afterwards. But she has a hard time finding guys to sleep with. And the only guy we really see her sleep with is the creepy older guy who is married and she's having an affair with him.
And she's kind of chattering away endlessly like a mom, even though she's not a mom. She's kind of mentioning random details about stuff that people are kind of trying to tune out.
Yeah, like at the senior center when she's just chattering away. The other women who work there just straight up ignore her.
Yeah.
They just keep walking and talking to each other and not listening to a thing she says, but Millie doesn't seem to notice. And then you got Pinky, who's very young and naive and lame. She can sew. I guess that's back to that like female thing that you were talking about. She can make her own clothes in a very female way, I suppose.
And she's secretive. She reads Millie's diary even when she thinks she's cool.
Yeah. So you got this weird dynamic.
And Shelley Duvall is amazing in this movie. This is one of the best Altman characters. I would say characters are a little light in Altman in a way. This is one of the most clearly defined characters in an Altman film.
Yeah, I would say so too. I don't like the character, but it is a very realized character, and Shelley Duvall plays it really well.
I think she won Best Actor at Cannes.
I don't like watching Shelley Duvall.
You don't like Duvall?
She's just too weird looking and weird acting for me. She's just, anytime she's on screen, it just gives me the heebie-jeebies. I know that's a mean thing to say, but they obviously capitalize on that because, just her being cast in The Shining automatically makes it creepier. Like her eyes. I don't know. Am I just being a bitch?
I think it's odd how much you dislike her, but at the same time, she is a different kind of performer. And she's being utilized in these movies for her uncanny authenticity. I think that you sometimes get squeamish about things. I guess you are the target person that Altman's trying to shake out of their normal complacency by putting Shelley Duvall in a movie.
I like some weird-ass fucking movies. It's not like I only like normal movies. Like, I like some weird shit, but it's a specific type of thing that I don't like to see, which is, like, disturbing unpleasantness. I don't like grotesque. That's what I really don't like. And Shelley Duvall has a grotesqueness to her.
And her putting the the cheese whiz on stuff. It's adding to the grotesqueness for me. I find this movie more unpleasant. I was expecting to like this movie more because I remembered liking it. I think I watched it and I was kind of falling asleep
The first
time.
And you liked it because it had that dreamlike quality.
Well, yeah, should we talk about that? Because I don't think we've talked about that yet.
Right, okay, so just to finish up the synopsis, like, you've got this, like, dynamic between Pinky and Millie, but then Pinky hits her head, and then she starts to, like, take over Millie's life and act like her, and she does this with confidence, and she's kind of like this mean bitch now who's taking over.
And now Millie cares for her.
Yeah, because
now that she's been hurt.
Millie feels like, you know, she kind of takes on like a mother type role of like having to take care of Pinky because Pinky has nobody else to take care of her.
And all of a sudden, Shelley, like the guys are interested in Shelley Duvall, and she's like, I need to take care of Pinky.
And then Pinky has a weird dream. And after that, everything gets all strange. And the whole time there's been this other woman, Willie, not to be confused with Millie, or I guess to be confused with Millie, like that's the point. Mm-hmm. But this other character, Willie, and she's the wife of that older creepy guy who like owns the apartment complex they stay at and owns this bar they go to and stuff. And so Willie, she is just like this very silent, artistic type that's always drawing these disturbing paintings.
On the bottoms of pools.
Yeah. They show that way too often. In the movie, there's just way too many shots that are drawn out of the painting on the bottom of the pool. Like it just like is hitting it too hard, in my opinion.
And the paintings are like of these women being
raped
by a guy with a giant dick.
Yeah, they're clearly a cry for help.
And she's pregnant.
And so, yeah, when Pinky has this dream, everything gets all trippy and weird. And the last bit of the movie is just this very artsy, trippy, dream sequence-esque situation that culminates in all three of these women becoming each other and becoming a bit of their own family. The multi-generational, like, Willie is, like, the matriarch. Then you've got Millie, who takes on her daughter role. And then Millie's daughter is Pinky. They take on this, like, 3-generational family,
but with each other's personas.
Yeah, and it's like hard to explain, but it's just very dreamlike and not like a typical movie.
Hard to explain and yet somewhat on the nose, I might say. This movie is a little bit obvious for how abstract it's going for.
Yeah, I definitely know what you mean. Obviously, just doing the persona thing.
Why do you think people responded so much more to this movie of these movies? I feel it's very well directed. The color schemes, the shot setups. We use this word a lot and it's kind of stupid, but we say like artsy. And like this movie's going for an artsy thing. This is a certain kind of cinematic experience that it's delivering where it's not too deep, but it is unusual. Why do you think people like this movie?
Yeah, I'm sure there's lots of people who hadn't seen Persona. So this is an American film where they're seeing this extreme artsiness. And so maybe for certain people, it's like, whoa, I've never seen anything like this before. I have to say my favorite part is the trippiness of the last third.
The dream sequence is excellent. It's very scary.
The dream sequence is excellent, and then everything after that I just found very compelling. And once Pinky starts taking over Millie's personality and seems like she's stealing her life, I see where this is going. This is not what I want. But then it doesn't do that the whole time. It just totally changes. Because then they're all pleasant towards each other during the dream sequence, sort of, by the end. The movie constantly keeps changing.
There's a climactic scene that's pretty harrowing. I don't know how much detail you want to get into this.
Yeah, there's a birthing scene. We don't have to get into a bunch of detail.
I would say trigger warnings abound for this.
Yes. It definitely depicts the horrors of childbirth for women. It's very focused on, like, women's issues. Very female-centric, obviously.
Yeah, Altman has a quote. Women have been subjugated in society, and as a consequence, they had to become manipulative, and thus have various disguises that they wear. Thoughts?
There's this Pauline Kael quote about Three Women that I really like, and it says that the film was stunted by the archetypal female mysticism of the second hour.
Yeah.
And, like, she's got a point there.
I would say so.
Yeah. I love that it's focusing on three women, but it is definitely like, wow, women, they're so, like, mystical and strange and unknowable.
It's doing that.
Yeah, it is doing that.
So, do you want to talk about the origin, though, of this movie? Because I think that is one of the most interesting parts about it.
He had a dream, and it was a dream within a dream.
Well, yeah, the dream wasn't that he was in the movie. The dream was that he was making the movie.
Right. And so he had this dream of making a movie
In the desert.
And he woke up and he's like, well, got to make that movie now.
Yeah, he said his wife was in the hospital and he was worried about her. Catherine Reed Altman, who's an important figure in his life, I would say. He's a bit of a wife guy. Or his wife was a husband guy. I should say, I guess. Real
Like,
supportive
she,
wife.
really supported
Real
him.
supportive wife.
Yeah.
Cool, helping to throw all these parties that he is obsessed with having. Is kind of a part of the gang. You know?
But so she's in the hospital. He's like, oh, my wife in the
wife.
hospital.
Yeah.
Like, women are so fragile.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. And he was like walking on the beach a lot and said that he got a lot of sand in his bed. So that probably made him think about the desert.
So, yeah, Pauline Kael, she said that she only liked the first half of the movie. Mm-hmm. And she said 3 women might have been a success if it had been 2 girls instead of 3, like called 2 girls and just about 2 girls. Because she liked the humor and affectation of the first hour with Duvall and Spacek. But Altman said about that, he's like, that's like saying you only like half a baby. Like, you either liked it or you didn't. You can't say like, oh, I only like part of this. Like, the movie, you should consider a movie as like a whole, you know?
Which is an interesting thought. What do you think about that note about criticism? I mean, I don't really feel that that's true, but I also could see the argument for that.
I see the argument. Like, this is not the first time I've heard him basically equate movies to children.
Right.
And he said before that, like, he likes all of his films because he considers each one kind of like his child. And even if they have faults, you don't say like, oh, my child's too short,
right.
But, you know, I like this other aspect of them. You like your child, all their faults and flaws combined. It is a cool way to look at movies. But I definitely like some parts of a film and not the other part. Like I said, I like everything after Pinky's Nightmare. I love all the trippy stuff. And I don't like everything before it.
You're the opposite of Kael.
I'm the opposite of Pauline Kael here. What about you? Like, what are there parts of the movie that resonate with you more?
I like all of his movies too, in a way. I think he's this guy who puts it out there. The thing that's compelling about these movies that we're about to talk about, because 3 Women was considered a success, and the rest of the movies are kind of considered failures, but
well,
they don't really feel like
wasn't a financial success.
No, it wasn't a financial success,
but considered a critical success.
A critical success, and it won awards at Cannes. But it kind of ended his relationship with Shelley Duvall for a while until Popeye, which he was sort of forced to cast her because everyone was like, "Come on, she looks exactly like olive oil. You got to put her in Popeye."
I mean, he wanted her in A Wedding, but she
dropped out.
Yeah, because I think 3 Women didn't do well financially, is what I've heard.
And this was her coming out as a star because she'd been in other movies. But this was where people were like, oh, I guess she's like a real actor. And she was in Annie Hall the next year. And I guess she'd just been in Bernice Bops Her Hair. But I kind of like all of his movies too. Like, his failures don't feel like failures. They don't feel like somebody who's trying to do something and then they don't know how to make it work. It feels like, well, I did this thing and people are like, I don't like it. And he's like, okay, I made 50 other movies.
I
like,
think
why,
I agree with that up until Quintet.
Quintet is the one nobody likes.
Yeah, it's a objective failure. We'll get to that,
I would say
though.
so, yeah.
What about within 3 Women? Do you like the whole thing? Are there certain parts that you like more than the other parts?
There's not really parts that I like more than the other parts. I think that what makes this movie cross the line into being good is it feels very assured.
Yeah.
You could say that it's one of his more personal works.
Yeah, like, it is clear he had an idea for it going in. He had inspiration for it. He wasn't just like questing around while making the film.
I guess that is because it comes from his subconscious.
Right.
And it's kind of a smaller scale. Like, it's only mostly about a couple of characters.
Yeah.
It's generated by him, and he knows what he wants to go for as far as mood, what kinds of things he's trying to say. So I think that this gives this movie it's of a piece with itself. He's got this set of things that he wants to contrast with each other. It's also very light and very dark. It's got a lot of moments of weirdness that I'm kind of in the bag for, and yet I also feel like it's genuinely frightening. It's like the closest thing to a horror movie he probably ever made.
Yeah, for me, it just I don't get lightness from it because the light parts have that grotesquerie that I dislike.
Well, you just don't like Shelley Duvall's character. And Shelley
No, but
Duvall
it's not just that. Like, I think the movie looks bad. Like, the colors are nice, but I don't actually like the visual style of it. Aside from the poppiness of the colors.
I do. I think it's visually stunning. But I am with you, though, that I do think that this movie is, if not overrated, it's certainly not my favorite of these movies that we're talking about today.
Same.
Yeah.
Same. Even though most people consider it the best one of these 5.
Most people consider it like one of his 4 or 5 best movies.
Right. But Altman was mad because he felt like the only way the movie stood a chance was if it got a slow release so they could build up a reputation over time. But Fox just went with a wide release all at once. Not a financial success, getting some good critical reviews, though. That takes us into his next film, A Wedding, which he made in 1978. Do you want to give a short synopsis of this film?
It's the story of 2 families coming together. The movie starts, you see the ending of a wedding, and it just takes place over the course of the reception. It's 2 families. One's kind of old money, one's kind of nouveau riche.
Yeah, I read somewhere, and I didn't pick this up while watching the movie, that the old money family is supposedly broke. The new money family, they're like a little hillbilly-ish, but they're the ones with money.
Yeah, it's got twice as many characters as Nashville.
That was one of the points of it. So it has 48 characters.
Yes. John Constantine, the actor who helped to generate this script, Altman knew him because he was in, I think, California Split. But he was also in Welcome to L.A., the Alan Rudolph movie that Altman produced. And so these people would just kind of hang out at Altman's office, come and hang out, and then you put yourself in Altman's mind. And Constantine came into town to do some voiceover work. Altman, he was doing an interview with some people about 3 women. And they asked, what are you going to do next? And he just looked down at this table in front of him, and there were wedding magazines. And he said, I think I'm going to do something about the American wedding industry. And then when the reporters left, Constantine was like, you're going to do something about weddings and stuff? He's like, yeah, I just thought of it. You want to write it?
That's such an Altman thing.
Yeah. Constantine kind of generated all of the characters and the basics of the plot, but this was a real seat of your pants kind of thing. They pitched it at Fox. Altman's like, you need to give them something so we can pitch it. And so Constantine wrote like 12 pages. And before they went into the meeting, Altman's like, I'm not going to read that. And so then they go in the meeting. He's like, okay, John, tell them what's going to happen in the movie. So he starts saying something, and then Altman would interrupt him and be like, okay, and then we could have this happen. So what happens next, John? And so he reads a little bit more, and Altman would be like, okay, now I got another idea.
So he was like just improvising during the pitch.
It's a wedding. And then they leave the meeting, and Altman's like, can you believe they gave us money to make that? It's a wedding. It's just a bunch of different characters interacting. I would say
it's a wedding reception.
It's a wedding reception.
Yeah.
You're right. There's a little bit of a wedding.
You see the opening scene is the wedding, and then the rest of it just takes place on one location, which is the rich family's mansion. Mm-hmm. The funny thing is the wedding that takes place is just with the family members, and then they expect all these other guests to show up to the reception, but like everybody seems to hate them all, so only a couple extra people show up. And so you have these 48 characters, but they're all connected to the immediate family in some way. Either they work there, or they're part of the family, or they're being hired for the event, like to document the wedding.
I heard something that said that the reason the other guests don't show up is apparently because of mob ties the old money family has, or because of the brothers,
the
family,
Italian mafia.
The Italian mafia.
I feel like there is so much in this film that you don't pick up on. Yeah. Altman, there's these 48 characters, and he wanted every single one of them to have a secret. Regardless of whether or not they came through in the screenplay, he wanted to make sure each character had their own secret, influencing the way the character was played.
And many do come out. There's a lot of reveals in this movie.
Yeah,
kind of silly reveals some of the time.
Pauline Kael criticizes the movie for treating all of their secrets at the same level, such as like incest, epilepsy, nymphomania, and interracial love.
Yeah.
And she's like, those are all not the same level of badness or whatever. Like,
right.
Like epilepsy and an interracial relationship are not bad, obviously, and should not be considered the same thing as like incest and nymphomania. So do you feel with 48 characters, Pauline Kael said she felt like there was no way into the movie and you're spending your whole time just trying to figure out who all the characters are. Do you agree with that, or do you feel like it was fine with so many characters?
This movie's 2 hours long. It's an hour shorter than Nashville. Of course, it doesn't have the songs in it, but I feel like you get a complete story with all the people.
I agree. I got a good sense of who the characters were. I wasn't that confused. Like in the beginning, obviously you're just trying to get to know who's who, but like you figure it out. And also if you don't figure it out, it doesn't matter that much. You get a sense of the story and the characters by the end of it. And I didn't think it was too many characters.
No. I mean, it feels like a real wedding reception.
It really does. One of my favorite parts is as soon as they get to the reception, all of these characters are rushing to the bathroom because they all really had to pee. And so then you're seeing these people run to the bathroom, and then you see them in the bathroom chatting with each other. Women in one bathroom chatting, the groomsmen all in the other bathroom, like taking their tie off and all that, like shooting the shit. It was funny to make that joke about everybody needing to pee. You don't see that type of thing in a movie. But it also was very real. And it wasn't just a joke. It was like the joke, and then you see them actually like hanging out in the bathroom in a very real way that definitely happens at wedding receptions.
You got these kids running around. The whole thing feels very choreographed. At the same time, it's also clearly very improvisational. And you just have these groups that are clearly been directed to, okay, do your thing and come around here at a certain point. Improvise something.
I feel like this movie and Rachel getting married
Yeah.
are probably the best wedding depictions in film.
Absolutely. I had that exact same thought.
I also thought this movie was very funny.
I love this movie.
I really, really enjoyed it.
This might be like one of the perfect middle of the road Altman movies because it's not too weird.
No, it's not.
It's got, I mean, I guess you said you don't want to spoil the big thing that happens in this movie?
No, there's some stuff that happens that I think is better to experience, and I don't expect all of our listeners to this episode to have watched all 5 of these films.
This movie is only available on Internet Archive.
Yeah, it's really hard to find, but
it looks
you
great.
can find it on Internet Archive, so check it out there.
It's a good print on Internet Archive. But you should watch this. Like, I would say if you're looking for a not too challenging movie that's going to give you the real feeling of an ultimate quote-unquote Altman-esque movie, this is a great place to start.
Yeah, absolutely. I would definitely recommend this movie to people.
But it does have a twinge of darkness that comes in some place. Because I would say, it's about weddings and it's about, let's say, the cycle of life. It's about how weddings sometimes have this creeping darkness coming in.
I agree with that, but I don't think it's off-putting.
No, it's not off-putting. That's the thing, because it's that thing of weddings, how there's often a sort of acerbic quality to a lot of people at a wedding.
Yeah, like everybody's kind of judging the marriage.
Right.
Rightfully so in this case, because the marriage clearly is not on a solid footing. But yeah, weddings, everybody's kind of either judging the marriage itself or judging the wedding or having a bad time. It's kind of rare for somebody to just have a great time at a wedding.
I remember I was at a wedding, and I think about this all the time when I was at the wedding of somebody where the father of the bride came up to me and my date and was like, God, weddings, I fucking hate them. I don't want to stand there and watch 2 people perjure themselves. Because, I mean, there's just that thing that it brings out. Like, how do you feel about weddings in general? Do you like go to weddings? You go to a lot of weddings.
Yeah, I enjoy the experience of whatever weird thing happened. I catered a wedding once.
You did?
Yeah, I catered a couple events one time back when, whatever, I don't know. It was a very short-lived job, but I catered this crazy wedding where at one point this old guy took his shirt off and stood on the table and was swinging it around, just like way too drunk. And then some chick took a shit right next to the toilet, but not in the toilet, so there was just poop on the bathroom floor.
Caterer, that's your job.
I was like, I'm not cleaning that up. I didn't have to clean it up, luckily, but it was a messy ass wedding. I like that stuff. Yeah. I like all the weird shit that happens at weddings. I like figuring out who likes to tear it up on the dance floor and who doesn't. Like, Sam is awesome on a wedding dance floor.
I do enjoy it.
Always a big hit. I enjoy them even when I don't enjoy them.
They bring out your raw humanity to a certain degree, even though you're all dressed up and you're sort of smiling and being fake. It's a fertile ground for a movie.
Yes.
This is a perfect thing for Altman to do.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy that this movie wasn't a bigger hit.
Yeah, I don't get why it wasn't a bigger hit. I mean, I think some people just thought it was like too much like Nashville, maybe.
But it's not really, though. The characters are so different.
One thing I saw consistently that multiple critics said was they felt like Altman didn't like any of the characters.
That's what people are like at weddings. They're not very likable.
But I also thought that the movie was like very charming.
Yes, yeah.
So it didn't have that dark off-puttingness of like a bunch of shitty characters.
I guess there's Mia Farrow as being a little off-putting. We should talk about some actors in this.
I didn't like Mia Farrow in this.
Yeah, why?
I just thought she was like very wooden.
Her character's odd.
Yeah, her character's really weird.
Incest vibes.
Oh, heavily.
That she's giving.
Yes. And she's the nymphomaniac in question that Kale mentioned. Sleeps with everybody in a weird way. She's strange.
Yeah, she sleeps with every guy at the barracks.
Yeah.
That's what's implied at one point? This is 10 years after Rosemary's Baby, and she looks younger.
Younger. It's the hair, I guess.
I suppose.
Her hair's long in this.
She's pretty skinny in this, too. I mean, she's she's very ectomorphic lady.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't love her in this. What about some other actors?
This is the first collaboration between Paul Dooley, who we'll talk about a couple more times.
Yeah, he was also in, later on, A Perfect Couple, where he has a much larger role. Health. He was in Popeye. Those are all the Altman films he was in.
Yeah, you might know Paul Dooley from like 16 Candles, I think, where I first encountered him.
Who does he play in that movie?
He's this sweet dad.
Okay.
Who, he realizes that he forgot her birthday and he apologizes to her. I'm not recommending anybody to watch 16 Candles. That movie's kind of fucked up, but Paul Dooley, you know him from Breaking Away, where also like his son in Breaking Away is in this, the blonde kid. I wish I could remember what his fucking name is.
I mean, there's 48 characters.
There's 48 characters, but he's
track.
the blonde kid from Breaking Away, and I was just like, that guy should have had a better career. He's like the only blonde guy in a movie who looks wholesome and not evil.
Yeah.
Like he
I know
actually
what you
seems
mean.
like a charming like little kid. You got Mia Farrow, you got Carol Burnett, who is also goes on to collaborate with Altman. And Burnett brings up the thought of how theatery and stagey some of the acting in these movies are, and how that redounds to realism in a weird way.
That's interesting because Pauline Kael said about Burnett in this movie that it was the most relaxed she's seen Burnett be on the big screen in terms of her acting, and that she brings out insanity with insane people better than anybody. But it's funny that Kael specifically mentions that she seems relaxed. Maybe she was like seeing the theateriness in other people and didn't want to do that herself.
Burnett talked about how she didn't really like making movies because she's more of a theater actor and a live TV person.
Can you like, for anybody who's not familiar with Carol Burnett, what's she most famous for?
The Carol Burnett Show, which was a legendary sketch show.
It got like a crazy amount of Emmys. I want to say like 23 Emmys or something like that.
They do a lot of breaking and laughing in the middle of sketches, famously. It's never really been my particular thing, but you still love Carol Burnett. She's a legend.
I really liked her in A Wedding. Altman said that A Wedding, it didn't do well in the U.S., but it apparently ended up being a pretty big hit in Europe, and they weren't aware of the Carol Burnett show there, so they were like, oh man, Altman really discovered this person, Carol Burnett. She's great. And he's like, I didn't fucking discover Carol Burnett.
And she said that she's like, I don't like movies because I'm more of a creature of live TV and live theater, but the vibe on an Altman set is more like doing a summer stock production, because everybody gets, like, most people get paid shitty, you're all hanging out together, you're working out stuff with other actors. It just feels like it really takes actors back to what they love about being in stuff. And she was such a huge star at this point that I think a lot of people liked getting brought back to this more collaborative process.
I mean, everybody says that it was always a blast working on an Altman film, like the actors.
Right.
That was like a good time.
Yeah. And I mean, and like, yeah, I mean, you'd have to, and she said like they would always have great catering, shitty pay, but you get really good catering and everybody eats meals together. It sounds really fun. I mean, so I kind of want to, say each of these movies represents a different Altman interest. Three Women is obviously his persona European art house strain. In fact, people talk about that as being the third of a trilogy of movies that he makes like that. A Cold Day in the Park, Images, and then Three Women.
Yeah.
I think A Wedding is party Altman. Parties are a key thematic concern of him.
I mean, he was like a huge drinker.
Yeah.
And they'd throw a bunch of parties.
Yeah, and a party is like a stage set in a way.
And he had this perhaps bad habit of seeing people's faults and flaws and pointing it out to them in a very mean way sometimes. He had this really mean streak to him where he would just reveal their weaknesses and like cut you to the quick, tear you down with a single phrase or something. And so I feel like parties for him were probably really fun to see everybody's flaws on display.
Yeah, you're letting it all hang out.
Yeah. That's clearly something he's capturing in this movie.
Yeah, everyone's taking pills and they're drinking.
I really liked the mother of the bride character. She's played by Nina Van Palland. She's also in Quintet, and she was in The Long Goodbye. But she starts acting weird, and then she takes, I'm guessing, heroin?
Yeah.
Some sort of drug.
Seems like heroin, yeah.
Yeah, that the doctor gives her. And suddenly she's totally super high. And I thought her performance was pretty good.
It was a wonderful high performance.
Yeah.
And her husband, her ex-husband, who's they're reminiscing, and he's...
Oh, they're exes?
Yeah, because she's married to the guy who then is in love with Carol Burnett.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought the guy was married to somebody else.
No, but like her ex-husband, who's this legendary Italian actor, they have this wonderful scene where he's freaking out about something, and then he slowly realizes she's high, and he's like, "My darling, you need to focus." And she's like, "I'm not," and he's like, "Okay, you can't focus. What do you want to talk about?"
Yeah, so that actor is Vittorio Gassman.
Yeah, he's incredible in this movie. He's wonderful.
Yeah, I really liked him a lot.
He's also in Quintet.
He's not as good in Quintet.
Yeah, well, no, nobody is. Dennis Christopher is the blonde boy that who I remembered. Incidentally enough, there's also, so Altman would get these theater company members and fill out the ensembles of his work often. He did that in MASH. He did that with Theater of the Absurd and just brought a lot of these company actors on to be basically extras. And in this, although I didn't notice any of them, most of the legendary Steppenwolf Theater Company members are in the background of a wedding. John Malkovich, Gary Sinise, Joan Allen, George Wendt, and Laurie Metcalf are all extras in this film.
I recognize one of those names. But I trust you that they're all legendary.
George Wendt is Norm from Cheers.
Oh, okay.
Joan Allen is, she's in Pleasantville, and Laurie Metcalf is like a huge actor now. She was on Roseanne for a while.
Okay.
Anyways, Gary Sinise is Lieutenant Dan in Forrest Gump.
Okay. Yeah, no.
And John Malkovich. These people, these are all members of the legendary Steppenwolf Theater Company, and they're uncredited extras. So
you know
that's
what?
all I wanted to say.
It's so funny that I probably wouldn't know who John Malkovich was if it wasn't for the movie being John Malkovich.
I think that's most people. That movie. It would be amazing if every actor could have a movie like that, where they play themselves.
And their name is in the title.
Name is in the title, yeah.
It's a crazy cast. This was Lillian Gish's 100th movie.
Lillian Gish. She is wonderful in this movie. Lillian Gish, famous silent film star, founded United Artists.
Oh.
Which wasn't connected to this. Anyway, sorry, I was just thinking.
Geraldine Chaplin is in this.
Yes.
Was that Charlie Chaplin's daughter?
Charlie Chaplin and Una O'Neill, the daughter of Eugene O'Neill, just to tie it back to my last birthday episode. Geraldine Chaplin is a common Altman collaborator, and this is one of her great performances. She plays the wedding planner.
Oh, I didn't feel like she made an impression.
Well, I did.
Okay.
I think if you know her Altman persona, she's doing one of those. It's kind of her playing the hits, or kind of him casting her in a similar way.
So it's fun seeing all these different actors in these roles. Kale criticizes this movie for Altman depending too much on the actors and himself, and he should have been paying more attention to cinematographers and editors and a script.
Oh, I think this movie looks great.
I think that criticism can be applied to other Altman films, but again, I really like this movie. I thought it was a big success, and I don't think it needs to be changed.
No, I think there's a lot of, he does a lot of his great classic mirror shots because they get a lot of bathroom time where people, this movie has a real cool glassy look where everybody's in a sort of color scheme because it's a wedding.
Yeah.
There's a wonderful choreographed shot of all of the cars returning back after the wedding, and they all circle around this one car, and then everybody exits the cars. It's kind of like a Nashville thing, except more ordered. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. The ending's great. Don't want to say what happens, but I just think it's a great ending. The movie actually reminds me a lot of the Antonioni film La Notte.
Yeah.
Where it all takes place during this party.
Yeah.
I thought it was great. Altman, he was inspired by a speech that Carol Burnett made about the equal rights movement. And he publicly pledged to donate up to $2 million of the wedding profits to the ERA. But there were no profits. It didn't do well, so he didn't follow through on that.
And there was no ERA. So wouldn't have mattered anyways.
It's all a wash.
Yeah.
Next up, Quintet. Made in 1979. For the summary, I want to give a Pauline Kael quote. She said, "Actors in medieval and Renaissance hats sit around, swathed in pyramidal layers of cloth and fur, arguing in assorted European accents about some game we don't understand." Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's like this post-apocalyptic world where it's like the second ice age. It's also kind of got this Children of Men subplot where nobody can kind of have kids anymore. Except for Paul Newman, who's
super virile.
Yeah, he's just the most virile man alive.
Got the sexiest young wife.
Is the only one who got anybody pregnant, and he like sleeps with this woman, and it's like the first time she smiles in a really long time because his sex is so good. Like his dick is just that good. Which, I get it. Hey. It's Paul Newman.
And yet this is a low charisma level emanating from Paul Newman.
He's not utilized at all in this movie. His character just looks around at everything and doesn't react at all.
Well, what's he going to react to? Quintet?
Right, yeah, so the movie...
Quintet.
It's about...
There's so many hilarious lines about where somebody says... So they're playing this game called Quintet. Someone says, "Are we playing?" "Without question." "Do I misunderstand the word killing?" "Not if you understand Quintet."
Got any others?
No, those are the ones I got.
Yeah, it's just so funny. Like, it's about this post-apocalyptic world where they're all struggling to survive, and yet they're also all obsessed with this board game called Quintet. Some of them are so obsessed that they start playing it in real life, where instead of metaphorically killing each other in the world of the board game, they're just going around trying to see who can kill each other first because they're bored and they want to feel alive. And Kale points out, like, I don't understand how they're all struggling to survive in this awful environment, and yet they're bored enough to be like doing this crazy game. That kind of like boredom usually only happens if everything's great, you know, and you are not wanting for anything. But she's like, just let it pass. It's fine, you know?
Well, Newman says Quintet was originally just about middle-class complacency and gambling at the end of the world. You're going to die anyway. You might as well go out with some excitement, which I guess makes sense. It's this kind of boring apocalypse.
Yeah.
It's really cold.
It's very
and no
cold.
one can have kids. They're cold even inside. There's no fire.
That's like one of the big things about the movie is how cold it is. This movie has this weird vignette over the frame.
You mean veneer?
You know what's called a vignette when it's like an oval shape that's over top of it?
I've never heard that term.
If you're like editing an image and you put a vignette over it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a real thing.
I didn't know that. You're teaching me this.
Let me double check.
Yeah. I thought a vignette was like a short.
Like a short little sequence. It's both.
Okay.
Okay, technically a vignette is when something fades into the background without a definite border. But
This is a border.
But it's the opposite of that, I guess. It's like an
Right.
inverse vignette.
That's
yeah,
helpful. keep going down this path.
Over top of the film, there is this oval shape.
Around the sides.
Yeah, like around the edges of, it's supposed to be frost.
Right, but it's just blurry.
It's blurry. It's the whole fucking film has this, and it is so annoying. I can't believe he chose to do this with the film because it's like, it makes it unwatchable.
It's bold. And
It's-
not in a good way.
No, I've never seen anything like it. I don't know. Just look up a still from the movie, please, because it is shockingly bad in terms of making that choice.
Like, what we're saying is the movie is clear in the middle and blurry all around the edge. It's blurry.
It's blurry. And so then the whole time your eyes are like, what am I looking at? They're like trying to focus. You don't want to watch a whole movie that's blurry on purpose.
And then when you find out that the purpose of this was to indicate even
it's
further
cold.
that it's frost and cold, it's like, so there's frost on this camera?
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about? My eyes don't get blurry when it's cold.
It just, every time I think about it, I laugh. It's just such a bad choice.
This is him experimenting. What this movie represents, and what the next one does too. Because these are 2 movies in a year. This is 2 movies in a year, and I think this twofer is a real death knell for
Like
Altman.
Quintet and A Perfect Couple.
Quintet and A Perfect Couple are nadirs. And
Quintet for sure is like unobjectively a bad
No,
movie.
yeah, I agree. I mean, Perfect Couple we'll definitely talk about. I certainly like that more than this. But Quintet is really bad, and these are both Altman doing a genre that he would not be associated with, typically. Because this is post-apocalyptic sci-fi.
Yeah, it kind of feels like Star Wars in the beginning when they're trudging around in their giant coats, like they're Ewoks or whatever those little creatures are.
Maybe think of Alan Ladd. Was he like, oh, this is, yes, I'm, people are loving this. Like, were they thinking this was going to be a hit with the kids
I don't fucking know.
or something? but it's also, then it's got this game thing. So that's, if you want to continue with my categorizing notion, this is like Altman, the genre experimenter / gamesman.
He loves backgammon.
Yeah.
He's obsessed with the game backgammon. So anyways, he created this whole game for the movie. And apparently the cast and crew really enjoyed playing Quintet the game, and they'd play it on breaks while filming it. I want to find this game and play it. I wonder if it exists anywhere, because it looks not that fun. It looks like Parcheesi, basically. But for the fun of it, I want to try.
Quintet. Just like they're always talking about it with such intrigue. Would you like to play a game of Quintet?
The real life version that the characters end up playing. It's basically like that assassin game that maybe
Sure.
people have played in college or high school, where you just have this list of people that you have to kill, and you try to kill them before they kill you. And that's all there is to it. It doesn't actually seem like a well-realized game.
No. And everything's like 5 based in this universe. They have a whole system at one point of like a map system. Everything has a 5-digit number. Everything's based around 5.
Yeah, and I think like the religion is based on 5.
There's all these dogs around that nobody seems to be wanting to eat. I just have to say. There's a million dogs wandering constantly.
They used 20 Rottweilers that came from California. But what they filmed it in Montreal. Altman liked filming in Canada so that he didn't have to deal with the Teamsters Union. But he shot this one in Montreal at the old expo site from the 67 World's Fair. So that's why, like, the set is actually kind of cool. Like, there's a lot of old metal structures, and I thought, wow, they kind of like put a lot into the set. But no, they just reused the leftover World's Fair structures.
I see.
And like the murals that are in this movie, there's weird, interesting murals of people. It's because the World's Fair site was then used later for this art installation called Man in His World exhibition. And so he just like utilized what was there. But yeah, so it was fucking cold while they were shooting it, and they wanted it to look cold. Like, to make it look colder, the crew would splash the set with water each night to give it an icy look. And the art director, Wolf Kruger, said that the winter weather was responsible for like 50% of the film's look. It made it really difficult to film because they had to warm the cameras and equipment up ahead of time, and the makeup and paint that they'd be using would freeze. And the thick winter outfits they were using for the actors was just as much for warmth as it was for looks. But the dogs, so because they had to get the dogs to this really cold place, they realized that they had to drive them all the way up so they could slowly acclimate to the cold rather than flying them. And like, those poor dogs.
These poor dogs.
Coming from California where it's nice and then having to be in fucking frigid Montreal. That's sad.
Yeah, this does seem like a certain amount of animal abuse. I just watched Buffalo Bill and the Indians, and there also seems to be some horse abuse in that. I don't know. These are
Boo.
It's boo. Why is it called Quintet though? There's always almost every part of the game seems to involve two people kind of dueling. Why? What is the fiveness?
If it's five, I don't fucking
I guess
know.
you can't answer this question. What if there was only Dungeons and Dragons left in the post-apocalyptic world? Would you like that?
I love that game.
Do you think that would be? I mean, you're a board game fan.
I am a huge board game fan.
I feel like there is something about this idea that I like. The idea of people, I guess it's kind of a Station 11 thing, how you entertain yourself in the end of the world.
Look, I could imagine a much better version of this film existing.
Yeah?
I think it's a fine idea, really poorly executed. Paul Newman said that he felt like one of the issues with it was that there weren't enough details to make it seem like an actual real reality.
It's a very simple world. A lot
Yeah.
of stuff is based on this game.
Yeah.
Like every aspect of life. And yet Newman comes from out of the wilderness, and they're like, do you play Quintet? He's like, I haven't played it in years. How can you fucking be anywhere and not play Quintet? I guess maybe it's just because he's coming back to the city people, what they do, like Vegas.
I mean, he's like making his way up north because he hears that, I don't know, life is better up there, and he's trying to, I don't know.
He's really annoyed at his wife at the beginning. She's
And
like,
then she gets murdered, and he doesn't seem that upset about it. It's just like this plot.
it inspires his quest to try and play Quintet.
Because he's trying to figure out like what happened to her, but he doesn't seem that upset about anything.
Newman's not given much.
Yeah.
A lot of women suck their thumbs a lot in this movie.
I know.
I don't know if you remember that.
Why the fuck are these women sucking their thumbs? Like, I don't understand.
His wife is very childlike, which I guess is trying to add to the.
Yeah, but she's not
why
the
it's
only one.
Disturbing when she gets killed. No, but she's not the only one.
Like, I don't know. Kale said that she feels like Newman was an Altman stand-in, where he is leaving other people behind, like the studio people, so that they can play their rotten games as he heads off into the unknown in his quest for art, like true art. I guess I could kind of see that.
But Albin liked games, though, too.
Yeah, he also just liked games. And so in that regard, he's not like Newman.
It's weird that Newman isn't into, or like weird that Newman's such a reluctant Quintet player, because he never develops a relish for the game, which is what you would want him to eventually get into it, I guess.
Yeah, and you'd want the game to be more interesting than just kill the person before they kill you. Like, that's not really a game.
They never give us like overhead shots of the board either. We never really see gameplay. We see people sitting around a table. And then, of course, obviously it's taken over more by the real life version, which is just people kill each other with a gun or a bomb.
It's like, it's a sci-fi film, but nothing about the movie is gripping or interesting. It doesn't seem to even be trying to hold your interest.
It's very sleepy. A lot of the characters look similar.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who sort of have doppelgangers with each other, and I can't tell if that's lazy casting.
And the tone is depressing. Altman
Yes.
said the recent death of his parents probably influenced the tone of the film, which I could see.
But it's a bunch of ideas overlaid on top of each other.
And none of them fully realized.
No, it reminds me of the original cast of Merrily We Roll Along, where they're like, okay, let's make a show that goes backwards in time, but also let's cast teenagers for some reason. It's like, okay, let's do a post-apocalyptic world, but also it's just about this game, and also let's put blurred edges around the frame. Like, too many ideas.
That was just unforgivable. I can't get over the blurry edges thing.
This movie is a bit of a sin. This is too much experimentation.
A total financial failure. Fox very quickly moved the film out of theaters and just onto the cable TV market to help offset the costs. And Kale said, Altman has reached the point of wearing his failures like medals. He's creating a mystique of heroism out of emptied theaters. And I kind of see that. Like, it does seem like he's proud of how unsuccessful movies he's making.
Yeah, there's a quote that somebody said it really pisses you off, Altman's failures, because it's like he's trying to mess with you. It's like he's trying to prove to you that he doesn't care.
And
or
like, you
something.
know that he can do better.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
But this is the nature of the maverick artist. You have to drive into the ditch, as Neil Young would say.
It does seem annoying to have to live up to your previous reputation all the time.
Yeah, and he wants to do different stuff.
Yeah, and I don't think he set out to make a bad movie or an unlikable movie.
No.
But I also don't think he tried that hard.
There's a certain amount of not taking the genre seriously enough, maybe. If you're undercutting, if you're doing a genre experiment where you're trying to bring some things that nobody's ever seen before to that milieu.
Yeah, like he probably just doesn't like sci-fi films.
That's kind of the impression that you get.
Yeah.
So I think it's wise that this is his only one.
So yeah, it's just a straight up bad movie. It's not without its charms because it's funny to watch how bad it is and to see his obsession with this fucking board game.
I would rather watch it than plenty of bad sci-fi movies. Like, I just watched the movie Krull. I would rather watch this than Krull.
Yeah, I can't say that for sure. I consider this one of those bad, boring sci-fi movies.
It's bad and boring.
Yeah, bad sci-fi movies, they're bad if they're boring.
This is committing that felony.
Yeah. So, that was shit. Next, he makes...
A couple of months later,
he
he comes out with another movie.
A Perfect Couple.
Yeah.
Sam, do the synopsis, please.
It's his take on a romantic comedy.
With unconventional romantic leads.
Paul Dooley, who's late 40s at this point. And what's the lady's name?
Marta Heflin,
who's primarily a theater actor. She was in Hair and Jesus Christ Superstar. She's a singer.
She was also in...
She was in a wedding.
She's in The Wedding.
And
she didn't come back to the Five and Dime Jimmy Dean.
Yeah.
I mean, she's in that later on.
Yeah. But the idea for this is a guy who's a sort of mama's boy.
Maybe more of a daddy's boy.
Or a daddy's boy, I guess. He's a part of this Greek family that
lives with them still.
He lives with them. They're very rich and close-knit. They all have to listen to what the patriarch tells them to do.
And they're like into like classical music.
Yes, right. His sister plays with the LA Symphony Orchestra.
And his dad likes to put music on and pretend he's conducting while the whole family watches him.
Yes, and they all dress in suits. They have a house that looks like a museum. And Paul Dooley, like his character, he's pushy, creepy. He's a depiction of a bad guy on a date, right?
Yeah.
and the girl is overly passive and doesn't really have a will of her own. And she is in a band called Keepin' 'Em Off the Streets, which is fronted by Ted Neely, who played Jesus in Jesus Christ Superstar. And this band is incredibly weird, and we'll describe what the band is like more later, because the band kind of takes over the movie. The band's kind of what the movie is mostly interested in. And they're all hippies and unconventional people. There's a lot of gay representation, by the way, in these movies.
Yeah, there really is.
Yeah. There's a lot of unconventional parenting situations and...
Like the remake of A Wedding Banquet.
Yeah.
A lesbian couple and one of them gets pregnant
by a gay man.
By their gay friend.
And so it's this unconventional couple who is in no way presented as like this storybook romance. And they meet through a video dating service. Obviously, this is the 70s, but like they're meeting through a modern video dating service. They're kind of a mismatch. You would never expect them to be able to be together, and yet for some reason they are destined to be together and they are in love. And that's basically the plot.
Yeah, well, I would say that like you got their romance, but then there's this part where like kind of towards the end, he goes on tour with the band, and to me that feels like the ending of the movie. Like he chooses to go on tour with her and he gets part of her life. But that's not the ending. He goes on tour and has a bad time. And he's like, I don't like being on tour. I don't like this hippie lifestyle. And then he comes home and there's a family emergency, and I think we can spoil this movie.
Sure.
It's not a big deal. It's not
a twist like a wedding.
Yeah.
Ending is a twist.
So the touring sucks. He comes home. His sister dies. His father disowns him.
Yeah.
And then the Sheila character, like the romantic lead, she leaves the band and they live happily ever after. And it's a weird fucking structure.
Yes. I've watched this movie twice recently. This was the movie that inspired this episode because it was on Criterion Collection. I was like, Jesus, you never see a perfect couple. And I watched it and I was like, this movie's fucking great. But I was getting a little sleepy towards the end and fell asleep between the sister's death and then the final. This movie is mostly like a musical. There's a lot of musical numbers in it. And so I kind of fell asleep between the sister's death and her leaving the band and going to be with him. And I was like, oh, okay, I guess I missed some connective tissue. And then I watched the movie again. I was like, no, I guess I fell asleep for like 1 second because that is what happens. There is no lead up to that. It's just kind of, well, she's got to leave the band and he's got to leave his family.
Yeah,
They've
they
gotta
both
be together.
leave the things that were keeping them
They
apart.
have to be together because that's what life is like. You either get subsumed into a group or you are subsumed in a relationship.
Yeah.
This movie is very metaphorical and vibes based because it's all through song. And a lot of the songs comment on what's happening in the moment.
Roger Ebert had a quote that I totally agree with where he says, "The movie looks like several good ideas for several movies made all at once, regardless of whether the pieces fit easily together. That's too bad because the movie's got so many interesting things in it, so many original characters, and yes, so much interesting music that it shouldn't have been allowed to become such a stylistic confusion." And I totally agree. There are good parts about it, but it is like too many different ideas at once. It's this romance, but he's clearly more interested in the band and the concept of touring and what it's like living with the band. And it takes away from the romance. I know you got the smile on your face that you're about to say that you love that, but it feels like watching one of those, what's like Knocked Up or something, where you think you're towards the end, but then the movie changes entirely and you're like, oh, wait, what's happening? What's the structure?
Again, this movie came out several months after he just made another disappointing movie. So watching this and being like, you do feel that thing that you were talking about where he was just like, okay, let's wrap it up. Let's just get to the end of this movie here. And yeah, okay, it's done.
Yeah.
It doesn't, you could add another 10 minutes to this.
Yeah, but you could also like workshop the plot a little bit and workshop the pacing.
Yeah, you could. I do kind of love this movie.
I enjoyed this movie. I do think it has a lot of good things about it.
People consider this and Quintet to be the twin huge failures, happening one after. And I'm like, this is no Quintet.
No, Quintet is a whole other level.
No. And so, again, to continue with my categorization game, this is music Altman.
Yeah.
Altman was a songwriter.
And, he's got Nashville, which is music-oriented. He made some fucking operas, one of them being A Wedding. He made an opera version of A Wedding.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't even remember that. That sounds great.
Yeah.
And A Wedding has plenty of music, but Health is going to has a musical element to it.
Yeah.
Prairie Home Companion.
Right.
He uses music in a way that is different from a Scorsese, where he's not using popular songs that are already known by people. He is having original music written for the movie. Or in this case, I think actually Keeping Him Off the Streets was a real band that he was just inspired by.
Yeah.
But nobody else knew this music. They weren't super famous.
Do you like the songs?
Well, that's what I'm about to say is this movie lives or dies on whether or not you can, let alone like the songs, whether you can stand this music. Because a lot of people on Letterboxd, this is the worst music they've ever heard in their life. And to them, I have to say, you are insane. This music is really interesting and cool. Not all of it do I love, but I also think that some of it is a misunderstanding of how cool the music's supposed to be. Because like fake Altman bands, like in Nashville, the music is great, but nobody really has respect for country music in a way. Like they're not trying to make this movie for fans of country music. And in this movie, I think a lot of people are thinking like, oh, this is trying to be like Fleetwood Mac, or it's like trying to be like really cool music, and this is too like theatery or something. But I think that is all exactly part of the commentary of using this style of music. Because it's kind of easy listening, soul, late 70s. It's got saxophone players, it's got guitars, it's got multiple female and male singers.
Grateful Dead vibe of like all the different people on stage. A bunch of different people,
yeah, right. And also a Grateful Dead like family vibe, a Grateful Dead band meeting where it's just got women with a baby in a rocking chair on the side. There's a whole stage set that they're on. It's like got a tree that's shaking with a kite stuck in it. The band is called Keepin' Him Off the Streets. And it's this maximalist music. And sorry, what do you think about the music?
I think the songs are just okay, but I thought the staging was really cool. It did seem like a cool musical presentation. I did like her first solo song that she sings. I thought that was pretty cool.
I mean, I'm obsessed with Weekend Holiday. Gonna get a weekend holiday. Weekend. It's hilarious. Like, it's a joke. they keep cutting back to them rehearsing over and over again. And so the thing about all these songs is Keepin' 'Em Off the Streets is presented as if they are these ultimate counterculture figures, these hippies who live on the fringes. They live in a big loft. It's like a shoe factory or something?
Yeah, something like that.
And so they're such weirdos. But all of their songs are about, I want to go on a weekend trip with you, and baby, I love you, and I'm just a lonely millionaire. It's all of these super domesticated, Fleetwood Mac-esque, just talking about divorce and my feelings. And I really do think it's charting where rock music had gotten to culturally. It's this late 70s, we're pretending to be cool in a way. But all we really care about is love and relationships. And the teeth has been taken out of rock music in a way. And that's kind of part of the commentary with using this music to me. And yet I also think it's very cool.
Let's play a clip of a song that you think's cool.
We'll play a couple songs.
Okay.
It's weird. Either you like it or you don't like it.
I have a question. So, in the end, she leaves the band.
Yes.
And ends up with him. And there's this whole thing throughout the movie where the band is like this abusive environment. Like the band leader, played by Ted Neely, he's kind of like this weird like cult-esque figure.
Workaholic.
He's a workaholic, really strict on all of them. He's the father of the baby that's just like floating around. Yeah. You kind of wonder, like, does he fuck them all, or is it just like that one chick?
I feel like he doesn't. I think he is just making his family stay at work because all he cares about is work.
But he's like an asshole. Like if you're late to something, he'll dock your pay or whatever. And so in that sense, you're like, oh, good, she should leave because it's an abusive environment. But on the other hand, you do feel like the band is decently successful and will continue to be successful. And so she is giving up this whole career opportunity to be with this guy. Just turning her back on music and also on the hippie lifestyle, which you can't really tell how much she likes the hippie lifestyle, right. But she does seem a bit defensive of it.
But it's unclear how much she likes being in the band ever.
Yeah, because she's just this very opaque character.
Yes.
I I actually liked the performance.
I do too.
But you don't know what she's thinking.
Right. I like keeping them off the streets more than I like the Greek family. They suck. The Greek family is genuinely, you don't want to be around them.
They seem like a caricature in a silly way. Whereas, like, even though keeping them off the streets is
Well,
clearly...
they're prudes.
Yeah, at one point she goes back to his place. He sneaks her in because he knows his family won't approve. But then, like, they get discovered by the family that they're sleeping together, and his dad calls her a whore.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Okay, let's talk about the romance here because
Yes, got a lot to talk about here.
it is unforgivable to me that his dad calls her a whore and he just lets it happen. He lets her leave, and then later he apologizes, but it's a terrible fucking apology.
Yep.
And he does not really demonstrate at all that he's gonna stop his family from continuing to call her a whore, and he doesn't even stand up to them. Like,
But I think
he
that's what
gets,
the ending
like,
implies
disowned.
with her leaving the band, is he's also leaving his family.
Yeah, but like his father disowns him.
Right.
It's not really his choice. Like, yeah, he went on tour, so I guess that's him giving up his family responsibilities. But I feel like he wasn't that active in the decision to not be part of his family anymore.
This is the last of many things that his character is shown to be doing wrong.
Right, like he's, as you mentioned, very pushy in the beginning.
Yes.
And he's very unlikable.
Yes.
He's not like a traditional romantic character in terms of looks.
He's a little
But-
hotter than Paul Dooley usually is.
Yeah, like without the mustache, it's nice.
He has the mustache.
Or sorry, with the mustache. With the mustache. I don't know. He's not hot.
He's not hot, but it's like they zhuzh him up a little bit.
He's not appealing to me at all. But that's not even the issue. For me, the issue is his personality.
Yeah.
Not likable at all. And I just don't understand why she likes him, because she's very pretty and he's an asshole to her and judgy and pushy. And suddenly they have a kiss and she can't stop thinking about it. And then,
Well-
like, out of nowhere, she just says, I love you. And it feels so unearned. I don't feel like this movie does a good job of building an actual romance.
You see, though, obviously this is another thing that is going to turn a lot of people off. And I think a lot of modern viewers view this as, oh, this is a story of like a pushy guy who won't relent and he wins over the girl. And that is what happens, essentially. But I think that it is all very much on purpose. The movie is presenting him as a bad date in the beginning and a bad guy. I don't think the movie is saying he's being cool or suave at
No,
all.
I know, but it's like saying she ends up liking him despite that.
Exactly. And that happens every day in real life, is kind of the point of the movie, is what I think. First of all, so I do not relate to this first date thing of him not letting her get away and going to a different door.
He keeps trying to get into her
He
apartment.
keeps trying to get into her apartment and he's being creepy and weird and she's giving him signals of like, I'm not interested, and he is not taking the hint. And the movie knows this. And then they kiss and now she feels something. This part I do relate to, because I have been on many dates where the person just doesn't know how they feel about me, and then we kiss, and then all of a sudden they feel something there, such as with you, my dear.
Yeah, it's true.
No,
like,
it just like is a real thing.
it's
like,
true. That is a real thing. Like, I loved our conversation on our first
Yeah.
date, but I wasn't sure if I was interested in you romantically until we kissed.
It's
true.
It's a weird thing. This movie is about how weird love is. And it's about the thing of, yes, these are not they seem like they're not the perfect couple, because there's this mirror couple that is following them at every date that they're at, who's the poster couple for the video dating service, and they're presented as this perfectly adorable couple. They're
Right.
always, feeding each other food, and they're both so attractive and they're both so considerate of each other and stuff. But the way love works in real life is very inscrutable and mysterious. And I think that's what this movie's getting at. And that is true.
It's true, but it's also not what people look for in a romantic movie. Like,
And
they
that
don't
is
want
why it's a
reality.
failure. That's why this is a movie was a failure with a lot of people.
They do that thing I hate where the conflict is based on a misunderstanding. There's this big conflict that happens where each think the other person stood them up. And it's like one of those things where it's like, if they just had cell phones, it would be fine. Because there's just this miscommunication where one person didn't see the other person. They didn't see each other, but they were both sort of there.
Because he had a different car than he'd had the first night.
Yeah, and whatever. It's just like, I consider that a bit of lazy writing to build conflict in.
Again, though, I don't think that's lazy. I think that they're doing it as a joke, like they're going through the tropes of this romance. They so quickly get past that, and they have this hilarious scene after she hits Paul Dooley with a fire poker and then faints, and Alan Nichols freaks out and leaves these two bodies on the ground, and then they go to the doctor's office, and they just have this ridiculous scene of connection where she's getting sutured. I can't even explain it, but it's
The doctor says, I don't think you two should be kissing while I'm suturing.
Yeah,
and it's funny. I did laugh at that part. It was pretty funny.
Yeah, no, it is fun. And like, the thing that makes it feel weird is that his problem is that he's too annoying and pushy and awful. And her problem is just that she's too passive and personality-less.
Yeah.
It just doesn't quite read like they're both super flawed. Maybe she should have a slightly more pronounced flaw.
Yeah, maybe.
In order to make it more equal.
Maybe.
And at the same time, I relate more to her than him because all I really need is to have somebody love me. And that will make me very interested in them. It's true.
Sam's easy.
It doesn't happen every day. I wish that it did. But the sense that somebody loves me is powerful to me. And it's powerful to her.
And I think it is powerful to anybody to some extent. Like, if somebody expresses interest in me, it will make me strongly consider them, even if I wouldn't normally consider them.
And they both have these other matches that are set up as like, this person does like you.
Right.
But that's not what they want.
Yeah.
They're not, that's not, because love is strange, man.
It is. Yeah. No, it's true. And like, I saw that all. It's not like I'm only getting this once you're pointing it out. Like, those elements are all there. It is still, though, just like not what I want out of a romance.
It's a tying your two hands behind your back kind of movie. Can I make this romance happen where I'm making there be no romance?
And then the whole time, Altman's being distracted by the band that he's fascinated with.
And there's a lot of songs. And you either like these songs or you really don't like them.
I just think it's funny when like he goes on tour with them. At first he's like, oh, it's fun watching them. But then he's clearly just like bored sitting in the audience, like watching them rehearse all the time.
They rehearse a lot.
Yeah.
They seem to need a lot of rehearsal, even though they're always pretty good.
It's funny that that's part of the conflict of going on tours. Like, it's just boring.
Yeah.
But, you know, the movie had like Elaine May vibes.
Totally. She kind of looks like Elaine May almost. Sheila.
I also want to point out there's this actress who she plays Paul Dooley's character's sixth sister, Belita Moreno. She's also in A Wedding and Three Women. And I don't know, she just left an impression on me. You mentioned there's a lot of queer representation in this movie. She's coded as being gay. And she's also coded as being gay, I think, in A Wedding, although it's very subtle. And maybe I'm just reading into that. But
she's got that haircut.
She's got a haircut.
You know?
But also she just like seems like she's kind of like playing herself in a way. And I just liked her.
No, I agree. She pops in a weird way, even though there's all these more famous actors and more pronounced personas.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny when he's at his sister's funeral in the "Okay, I'm with the band" shirt.
Yeah, that was
kind of funny. I don't know. This movie's funny.
It is funny. Watching all these movies really made me appreciate Robert Altman's sense of humor. I laughed and wrote in my notes, this is actually funny, for multiple movies. Like I said, A Wedding, A Perfect Couple, and Health are actually funny.
Well, and I would say if you want to transition now to Health.
Real quick before we transition to Health, in terms of the movie, yeah, like it didn't do well. Like you said, it's considered one of his failures.
People talk about it as boring.
I kind of see it, but I wouldn't call it boring. But Janet Maslin from the New York Times wrote about it. If Mr. Altman keeps on operating at such a small fraction of his powers, his masterworks may begin to look more and more like happy accidents.
Right.
So I just think it's important to keep that in mind at this point in his career. People are starting to think maybe he's actually not a good director.
Right.
Maybe he just had a couple happy accidents.
And I think that's what they're left with at the end of this period after Popeye.
Yeah.
Or like the whole 80s. People are like, well, Altman, he was like a 70s guy.
Flash in the pan.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And so
it wasn't until The Player when he could remind people like, no, I'm good.
He actually came back, unlike, say, Friedkin, or these other people who were really stuck in the 70s in most people's imagination.
Yeah.
And he'd only really been considered a really great director post-Nashville.
Right.
Really what cemented his status, and then he immediately tanks it.
Yeah. Because he wasn't like trying hard to maintain his status.
No.
Because he was just one of those people who's like, I don't give a fuck what you want from me.
Pretty much.
So then he makes the last film of these 5 films we're going to cover, Health, in 1980.
And this is started with Ladd, but Ladd left the company.
Partway through
it.
I think at this point, Altman saw the writing on the wall, and he felt like he had to really speed up the production of Health. Otherwise, it wasn't going to get made. So he rushed the production. Do you want to do a synopsis of this movie?
Well, why don't you? You want me to?
Is it my turn?
Yeah.
Okay, so Health. It all takes place at a health food convention where they are trying to elect the next president of the health food organization.
Yes.
I guess.
Similar to MASH, its name is an acronym.
Yeah, what does it stand for? It stands for Happiness, Energy, and Longevity Through Health.
So it's got a capitalized H at the end.
Yeah.
So
It's kind of a fun title.
yeah, it's a fun title. And also similar to MASH, I would say this is him making a straight comedy.
Yeah.
This movie is a silly comedy.
I thought it was really funny.
It's really funny. And funny sight gags and a lot of hilarious verbal humor, too.
Yeah, scenes where you've got security guards dressed up like silly corn
Yeah.
costumes because it's this ridiculous health food convention. I think over 100 different health food companies actually contributed to the set. The set is great.
It's really fun.
But it all takes place in just this one location at this resort in Florida where they are having this health food convention. And they used a lot of like Floridian extras for some of the scenes.
Looks very Florida.
And Altman said about it, "This place has the oldest average population of any place I think I've ever been. I swear half the people on the streets are in their 90s. They're so manageable as extras. They stand where you ask them to. They don't talk when they're not supposed to. They've been programmed right into the middle-class slavery of America. They worked all their lives, saved, retired down here, and now they're stunned by the total lack of anything to do. Standing around as an extra is a big day for them." And I just thought that was funny, that asshole comment about all his Floridian extras.
Well, this movie's about old people, too. You got Lauren Bacall playing older than she is.
Right.
But so it's a convention/election.
Election, yeah. And the big characters at play are the two main candidates for the election, who are...
It's Glenda Jackson and Lauren Bacall.
Yeah, so Glenda Jackson plays a candidate called Isabella Garnell, and Lauren Bacall plays a candidate called Esther Brill.
And this is Glenda Jackson coming off of having won 2 Oscars in the previous decade.
She has a triple crown of acting awards, you know. She's got 2 Oscars, 3 Emmys, and a Tony.
I know. And this is after Lauren Bacall has also reinvented herself as a stage actress in the 70s. She's in 2 musical versions of classic movies from when she was younger, where she's in like the musical version of All About Eve and the musical version of Woman of the Year. So Lauren Bacall's kind of like in this second career renaissance thing.
I think she's really funny in this.
She's really good.
She has this weird gag where like her character is I don't fucking know what's up with her character, but she's clearly having some health issues that they're trying to hide. And
She's sort of a reanimated corpse.
Yeah, she's like, yeah, exactly.
Like
She does this thing where she'll suddenly raise her arm up in the middle of talking and then freeze.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, and she'll just stay like that for a really long time.
And somebody says that's just her way of letting her body tell her what it needs to do. So she's listening to her
Weird.
body.
But it's also very funny.
Yeah, it's really funny. This is like a satire of health companies, which were really becoming in vogue, I guess, around this. Woody Allen has that. He plays a guy at a health food store and Sleeper. So
Yeah,
it's
like
a 70s thing.
The late 60s,
Yeah.
there was this big health movement.
Yeah, there's one part where some room service guy comes. He's like, Monte Cristo with syrup and a Pepsi. They're like, boy, do you have the wrong room, pal. They're funny because they're healthy.
Yeah, there's like a third candidate in this election who's the independent candidate, but nobody takes him seriously. And they consistently say throughout the movie, we're a 2-party system here at this health food organization. Paula Dooley plays that other guy, and he has this weird product he's trying to sell where I think it's like kelp or something like that allows you to breathe underwater. And so he does this publicity stunt where he looks like he's a dead man in a pool, and everybody's like, oh my God, there's a dead man in the pool. But then they're like, no, it's just that dude trying to sell his fucking product.
A couple of floating upside down in pools happen across these movies. That happens in 3 Women.
Oh, true.
A lot of pools.
So yeah, you've got Paul Dooley's there, but really it's about the election between Lauren Bacall and Glenda Jackson's 2 characters. And then you have Carol Burnett playing a character, Gloria, who she's like the stand-in for the White House spokesperson. The White House is interested in the outcome of this election. And you got these 3 women who, they all have their flaws, they all have their quirks, but they're also all very competent and intelligent. Lauren Bacall's character is ridiculous, but you can tell that she is smart and she's doing it on purpose. Like
Right.
She's being very calculating. And Glenda Jackson's character is annoying, but she's also the most morally correct one of them all. And
Right.
she's clearly who they should elect, but they won't elect her because she's annoying.
Yeah, she's too elitist, too real.
Yeah. And then Gloria sneaks up on you. To me, it wasn't obvious what the setup of the movie is, and it wasn't obvious that Gloria was the main character until partway through. And I think this is just a very Altman thing where he like weave this tapestry of characters all interacting with each other, and then the story slowly unfurls itself from it. And it's just not obvious from the beginning. It's something that slowly comes out as the movie progresses.
It's a battle for the soul of Gloria. Gloria is sort of trying to decide who she should vote for, in a way, or who she
Right.
should back.
Yeah.
Who the White House wants to back. She's the audience surrogate in a way.
And I think Carol Burnett's really great in this role.
Wonderful. She's horny when she's nervous.
Okay, but something I love about that, she doesn't overplay that.
No, no.
It's like, it's a detail of her character, but she's still like, even when she gets horny, she's still trying to talk about real shit. Whereas her ex,
Played by James Garner.
what would I know him from?
He's married to Barbara Streisand. You know him from The Notebook. He plays the old guy in The Notebook.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
telling the
Okay.
story, right.
Yeah. But he is clearly like mainly just motivated by getting into her pants.
Yeah.
Whereas even though she gets horny when she's nervous, she still is a very realized character with other things that are occupying her mind at the time, even when she's getting horny.
Yeah,
Like,
these are silly characters, but real,
yeah.
too. Like,
They're silly, but they're not like crazy caricatures.
I mean, they are, but you got the one guy who's the colonel or whatever,
Oh yeah.
who's supposed to be like a C. Everett Koop type, except he's crazy.
Do you think that he's like
political
secretly
operative.
controlling
Right, yeah,
everything,
exactly.
but then you find out, oh, he's just pretending.
They're just humoring him.
Yeah, he's just crazy.
And you got people dressed up as vegetables.
Right.
walking around.
And yeah, I guess Glenda
Singing
Jackson's
songs.
character is just this caricature. It's supposed to be a commentary on the Dwight Eisenhower versus Adlai Stevenson election.
Yeah.
And Glenda Jackson's characters, her speeches are directly pulled from Stevenson's speeches.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know anything about that election.
Adlai Stevenson was the Democratic nominee twice in the 50s against Eisenhower. I'm not an expert on this, but I think of Stevenson as being he was this popular intellectual figure. So the Democratic Party had been in charge for 20 years until the 50s, because you'd had 3 terms with FDR, and then Truman took over after FDR. It's kind of hard to be in charge that long without maintaining your brand, especially if it's kind of a personality cult like FDR. And basically, Eisenhower just won in a landslide, and Stevenson was sort of a sacrificial lamb of, this is the guy that we respect, but we just know that he's not going to win because he's too real and he's too honest and he's too hoity-toity in certain ways. He also did supposedly have an emotional affair with Lauren Bacall, so that's kind of a fun tie-in here.
That's fun.
But yeah, I think of Stevenson as the guy in the Kennedy administration, because he was the UN ambassador during Kennedy, who he was always pushing for a more cautious approach to the Bay of Pigs and the Cuban Missile Crisis. He gave a famous speech where he's trying to demand that the Soviet guy or whatever say that whether they have missiles in Cuba. And he's like, no, don't wait for the translator. You just tell me right now. And people cheered him on. I guess I'm thinking of like 13 Days now. But Adlai Stevenson, just kind of a born loser, but a great guy.
Which is totally how Glenda Jackson's character is in this.
Just to tie a bow on what all these movies are, this is Nashville Part 2 without the song.
Maybe Part 3, because the wedding's a little bit Nashville Part 2.
No, but this is really a Nashville thing because it's about the political
politics,
aspect, the political aspect of what's going on in Nashville.
Right.
So it's like it's just replacing health food for music, but it's really about where American politics are at. It's a commentary on the two-party system and elections. Everybody is referencing Adlai and Eisenhower the same way that in Nashville everybody's referencing the Kennedys and other assassinated figures.
Yeah. And Altman wanted this to come out before the 1980 election. And it didn't. It didn't come out at all.
Yeah.
It was never released.
We watched a terrible, really blurry print that was shown on Fox, the channel, sometimes.
Yeah, that's the only time it was shown was on a couple TV channels. And so the one we watched, it's on YouTube, but yeah, it's a bad print.
It's bad print. A lot of Altman's lighting can sometimes look a little weird unless you have a great remastering of it, because he's doing a lot of these long master shots and trying to capture a lot of action. So some of the lighting is a little bit imprecise, and that results in some of the prints looking bad.
Yeah, which is especially an issue because Alfre Woodard is in this, and she's
Yeah.
great in it. But the lighting is not working
helpful.
with her skin color. And
Yeah.
so you can't see her face in it, which is such a fucking shame.
It is.
Because she's so good.
Really good.
She plays a strong character in this, in a position of authority. She's opinionated. She's so fucking funny. Dick Cavett in this, and I thought he was great. He
Yeah.
has a surprisingly large role in this movie. He plays himself. But there's this part where he's interviewing Alfre Woodard's character and asks her if she thinks the people in the convention look healthier than other people. And her response is just so funny.
Clearly improv.
Yeah.
She's just going off.
She was so good.
No, and they're employing Cavett well, because he's also clearly doing a lot of his own dialogue and doing those quick little comments that he was known for.
He's so clever. I fucking love Dick Cavett.
You love him now.
I love him now.
You were so resistant. You were always making fun of me for bringing him up.
No, but I love him. He's won me over.
Yeah.
He's great. They don't make him like they used to.
He's the ultimate. I mean, I guess podcasts, people talk about them as being Cavett-esque.
Well, I'm certainly not as clever and witty as Dick Cavett, so.
But you're pretty like he was.
Doesn't count for anything on a podcast without a video, does it?
We could do a video. This movie is great.
I loved this movie.
Is this your favorite?
I also loved A Wedding.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Well, we'll save the Cold Stone rating, or I guess we'll save more things for later. But yeah, this movie it's truly a tragedy that it wasn't released.
It's so fucking sad. As we'd mentioned, Al Ladd Jr., at the time of this movie being released, he was no longer with Fox. It was under new management. Altman said about the new leadership of Fox that they are scum. They're not interested in movies. They're interested in ski lifts and Coca-Cola, which is a great quote. Yeah, they did some test screenings. It didn't perform well. Altman took it around to a couple of festivals himself, kind of self-distributed a little bit. And he said that at the festivals, the audience had a love-hate relationship. But he says, what's wrong with that? That's kind of what you might want from a movie reception. Some people love it. Some people hate it.
Yeah, it's better than indifference.
And then they did a couple more screenings in LA. Like, it had a brief theater run in LA, but those didn't go well either. So they only played it on TV. It still does not have a DVD, VHS, or Blu-ray release. You can't find it anywhere except YouTube.
I think I heard Tarantino say that he utilized some song from it in the soundtrack of Reservoir Dogs and mentioned it to Altman when they were at Cannes together because The Player was there the same year as Reservoir Dogs, and Altman got really pissed off at him.
That's funny.
This had one notable screening in the den of Camp David. Ronald Reagan set up a private screening to watch Health
on a stormy night.
And he said it was the worst film ever made.
What I love about that is that wasn't him making some public declaration because of the political commentary. He wrote in his personal diaries that it was the worst movie ever made.
Oh my God, they found it after he died or whatever?
I don't know when they found it, but I did see that it was written in his diary. Yeah, I just thought it was really funny. The characters were great. The setting was great.
It's kind of Pynchon-esque. A lot of people have funny names.
Yeah.
It's very cartoony in a fun way.
I liked the singing quartet. They're called the Stinettes. Altman liked working with them so much that he brought them with him when he filmed Popeye at Malta.
Yeah, in Malta.
Let's put in a clip of the quartet.
Magic in my eyes will make you realize that you can give up nasty habits we philosophize. We'll put you in a trance, the little watch will dance. You'll look at it, you'll have a fit, and then you'll have a chance to rid yourself of bills. No need for taking pills. You'll find the truth right in this boost will help control your will.
As I live and breathe, Miss Dinah Shore.
At the end, they do this Marlena Dietrich drag thing, which to me definitely felt like a gender commentary. The movie's clearly commenting on gender because the whole time you're watching these female candidates and you're just contemplating what it would be like to have a female president.
Mm-hmm. There's a trans commentary.
Oh, yeah. There's this weird trans commentary.
Which you could say is a little bit...
Turfism.
I don't know. It's tough.
It is tough. At first, they try to smear one of the candidates by saying that she's actually trans. And Gloria's character is the one who hears this. And at first, she's upset. She's like, I really thought that was a woman, you know?
Yeah,
and if she's not a woman, why would I want to support her? So it's this kind of weird turf type reaction.
Yeah.
But then she ends up coming around to it. And at a certain point, she's like, you know what? It shouldn't matter.
Right.
And so, I guess
it's taken a swing for the time.
Yes. It's not an entirely problematic thing, but it's complicated.
I can't speak to whether or not it's actually would be considered problematic. It's just, it does clearly have its heart in the right place, but is a little clumsy.
Yes. Yes.
And could contribute to a lot of different audiences not liking the movie.
It's definitely also supposed to be a joke. Definitely clunky.
This movie's kind of politically prescient. Sort of felt like the most recent election in some ways.
I totally agree. Lauren Bacall's character having this health issue that everybody's trying to pretend doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And there being somebody who's definitely more morally correct than the other person.
Yeah. No, I mean, it felt like a pretty damning indictment of the two-party system.
It also felt prescient just about health criticism.
Yeah.
Because that's still such a thing of the commercial industry surrounding wellness, like health and wellness just being such an excuse to profit off of people's fears of being healthy.
Except this seemed actually fun. It would be cool if they actually just like had people dressed as strawberries.
Yeah, that's what we need.
I would
more
prefer
of.
that more instead of just like somebody who's speaking like they're a yoga teacher or whatever.
I saw one quote from Leonard Maltin who said that non-Altman fans may love this movie more than devotees. And I could see that, but I don't know. We're Altman fans. Oh, I am now, and you've always been, and I thought this movie was great.
It's really undistilled. I mean, distilled? What do I think?
It is distilled.
It's concentrated. It's a supercharged. I really do think it's like Altman plus like a cartoony Pynchon-esque level, taking Nashville to another level of ridiculousness.
It's just so insane that it's never been released and it's not more well known.
So you are now an Altman fan.
Yeah, so at first I appreciated him, but I wasn't a big fan. But from listening to the oral history and just like hearing about how complex of a person he was, and just really getting like an idea for him as a person, and then watching these movies that were all like quirky little hidden gems that each had their own failures, but each had their own value as well. Even fucking Quintet. Yeah, I now consider myself an Altman fan. He's not one of my all-time favorites like he is for you, but he does have a very special place in my heart now.
His deep cuts offer a good insight into him.
And I honestly think it's better to watch all 5 of these rather than just one of them.
It's a fun story. It's a 3-year period. And this is, if these were the only movies that this director released, that would be a pretty interesting career.
Yeah.
If these were the only movies that a guy made, you would be like, wow, who the hell is that?
Again, it is a lot like Elaine May.
Yeah.
So yeah, how did this experience change your opinion of Altman? I mean, you already loved him.
No, yeah. I mean, I was just happy I'd thought that movies like A Perfect Couple and Quintet and Health, while viewable in some way or another, it's just, I was pleased to discover, I had this image in my brain of them. Like, Quintet was more or less exactly how I imagined it was in my brain when I heard about it. But A Perfect Couple was nothing like what I thought it was going to be like from just hearing the description. And Health was more or less kind of what I thought it was going to be like, but it was great. So Altman's made a lot of movies, and I will have seen all of his movies eventually. So I will cherish this experience as a wonderful birthday treat forever. Again, it's not really moving the dial on me. Like I was already so in the bag for these movies.
Right.
I am with him that I don't really feel like any of them are mutated children. They all seem like what I want from that particular movie. So I still think I might rate them higher than you would. Well, we'll see this. We'll see
Probably,
the Cold Stones.
yeah, but we'll see. Real quick, new Hollywood aspects. I mean, just like
the existence of these movies.
The fact that Altman was given the freedom to make these in the first place, and he just making things that are just, he's not going for blockbuster.
No.
Does not like blockbuster. He is just going for the smaller movie, the weirder movie. It's just quintessential new Hollywood, like all of them. Quintessential. Okay.
And he's like exploring himself as an auteur. He's like, what's an Altman version of this? Let's do twice as many characters as I'm known for.
Yeah. Everything's experimental in some way.
Yeah.
Okay, Cold Stone rating.
We do the Cold Stone rating in this show. It's like it, love it, or gotta have it, or it doesn't make the scale. 3 women.
I liked it. It's kind of almost doesn't make my scale in the sense that it's like unpleasant to watch, but I do recognize the artistic value in it, and I really did like all the trivia stuff at the end.
Yeah.
So that makes a like it for me.
It's personally a like it, but I feel like I gotta give it a love it in a way for its reputation, and it is a more assured work than any of the other ones.
Yeah, that's true.
So I feel like I'm giving it a kind of official love it.
Okay.
But I did not love it.
And I want to go on record and say I gotta have Persona.
Yeah.
So it's not like this kind of movie is just not my kind of movie.
No,
you
yeah.
know? It's just, to me,
you should
not
check
as
out,
good as Persona.
I wonder what you think of Images.
Yeah, I want to see it.
That's really good. That's currently in my other partner's top 4 on Letterboxd.
Cool. Very fun.
Persona is often in my top 4.
That's a classic to go in a top 4.
Okay, sorry.
You're basically pretty basic.
I am basic.
I'm just kidding. It might be in my top 4 also. I don't know.
No, we have a shared.
Oh, no. I think I have Belle de Jour in my top 4.
Yes, right.
That's my female-centric.
You like to see him getting whorish. Okay.
A wedding.
A wedding. For me, I think I might just toss it a gotta have it, but I don't know if that's See, because a wedding, it's such a cool movie in general, but I really also just want to plug yet again the special twist ending thingy. It's not even an ending, it's like a twist climax that I think is so weirdly clever, and I just think about all the time. I almost could reduce the whole movie to just this interesting one idea, which makes me think, but then the rest of the movie is also really great. But is it actually a gotta have it? I don't know. It's between
I
a
think
love
you're
it.
lying a little bit to yourself.
I think it's a love it.
It's a love it for me. It's delightful.
Yeah.
Yeah, the twist ending is really fun. Or the twist, again, yeah, you're right. It's not really a twist ending, but the twist is really fun. But also outside of that, I just thought it was funny. I loved all the characters, loved the portrayal of a wedding reception. So yeah, love it. Quintet.
Doesn't make the scale.
No, it's objectively bad.
Yes.
Still a little charming in a weird way, but objectively piece of shit.
I wouldn't recommend this movie to anybody, but at the same time, if I found out that somebody was watching Quintet, I'd be like, oh, cool. Yeah.
Just the blurred edges. It's just so unforgivable.
That's the worst part.
It's so bad. It's like irritating to watch.
Because it's not like there's nothing happening on the blurred edges. There is action that you are seeing the blurry version of.
Yeah. A perfect couple.
I think for me, it's a love it.
I could see that.
I watched this movie twice recently, and I was not sick of it the second time. I'm into this movie. I am a big fan of keeping him off the streets. I love Paul Dooley in this, and I also think that what it's saying about romance, this is kind of like when we've talked about romance. This is a version of romance that I'm interested in more than just needing it to go through the cliches of a romance story.
We had a big, long discussion on the love story episode last year. For my birthday. That was my birthday episode last year, where we really pieced apart our differing opinions on romance. So if you're interested, check that episode out. For me, it's a like it.
I'm pleased for it to get that far.
Yeah. I had my issues with the romance, and the structure's weird, but also interesting. Mm-hmm. I was maybe shitting on the structure too much, but it's one of those things that make it interesting.
Yeah.
And it's a weird little film, so it was a like it. Health for me, love it. I really love it. I thought it was just so funny. I was very pleased with it. Found it extremely enjoyable. I recommend it to anybody.
I love it for me too, marred only slightly by the fact that you can't watch a good print of it. You can find it on YouTube easily. We kind of flipped between two different versions, and one of them had bad sound and the other one was worse to look at.
Yeah.
So
pick your poison.
Yeah, whichever sense of yours is more dulled, decide based on that.
Okay, but I also want to rate them like in aggregate. Like thinking of all five of them together.
Yes, okay.
For me,
how would we do this?
Gotta have it.
Really? Okay,
yeah,
cool.
Just like the 5 Fox films that Altman made in general is a gotta have it.
Yeah.
Even though none of them individually were a gotta have it for me.
Right.
Because it was so fun to watch them all. And it really affected my overall view of Altman.
I'll give it a gotta have it too. No, I agree, because it's like this guy, his career has an interesting story. It's got ups and downs. And I would say the downs in the 80s are they're true downs. But this is a down that's kind of an up, if you will. Or like, this is a down. This is a down that, well, it's because he's working on such a high level, right? He's getting the resources to make the movies that he actually wants to make. There's not really compromises being made.
Right.
And these are just so exemplary of New Hollywood.
Yeah, and he's exploring something different in each one. It's cool.
Yeah, I would agree with you. Great idea. Didn't know if I fully understand it, but I agree.
No, it's just like, I have these directors who, their individual films, I don't love any of them, and yet I love them as directors overall.
Right.
I have a number of directors like that. So yeah, I think sometimes it's useful to look at something in aggregate.
Yeah, this is a great way into Altman.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I mean, you should probably watch MASH and Nashville.
Yeah. Long Goodbye.
And Long Goodbye.
California Split.
But this one will help solidify him in your mind.
Yeah.
Like watching all 5 of these.
Right. Well, especially because in the early 70s, he really is trying different stuff and figuring out who he is. And by this time, it's like he's experimenting every time, but he's experimenting with all of the things fully there.
Right.
So
that concludes another exciting New Hollywood adventure. Thank you all so much for listening. Don't forget to subscribe to Kill Your Idols on the podcatcher of your choice. Please take the time to leave a rating or review. It is extremely helpful for small podcasts like ours. Think of it as like a birthday present to Sam and to me to leave us a little review. So do it, please. Thank you. We'd love to hear from you, so please reach out to us on Instagram or send us an email to kayleyouridols@gmail.com. We want to say thank you to the Illuminator for our logo, and thank you to ourselves for everything else. And please join us next episode where we will be celebrating my birthday.
Woo!
And I decided to break the rules a little bit because I picked a movie that is not a new Hollywood movie. We will be taking a brief little sojourn over to Germany to cover Wim Wenders' meditative 1976 film, Kings of the Road.
Hey, Peter Fonda, how did we do?
We blew it.
Marlon Brando, Ellen Burstyn, Robert Evans, and Shelley Duvall. Sad endings 'cause of Watergate and Vietnam. Never thought I'd be so happy to see the old studio systems fall. New Hollywood. Weren't those movies good? New Hollywood. Weren't those movies generally good? Generally good. Generally good. Generally good. Generally